Screen okay?
Hold on, it's small. Let me see. Can I?
Oh, are you on your phone?
No, I'm on the computer. I just got below my.
Oh,
They just brought
okay.
it into.
Screen okay?
Uh, Hold on. Hey, is it okay to record this, or you would prefer not to?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure my mic don't pick up all these small sounds. I got a bad chair and it always creaks and it pops up on the audio.
Okay. It says like I need permission from you to.
Yeah, you got it. You good? All right.
Okay. All right.
All right, cool, cool.
Anytime you're
All
ready.
right. Yeah, so I believe the topic we were looking at last time was Romans 11 and we didn't go deep into it, so we wanted to come back and look at it again.
Is it possible that we start out with a prayer?
This meeting is being recorded. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Start us off.
Uh, Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, I ask that you send your Holy Spirit, spirit of patience, spirit of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Um, Both have a prosperous dialogue, a very informative dialogue. Um, all things that you see, we need to have this dialogue to accomplish what we're trying to get to. I ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. So let's start here because I'm curious. I never asked. I usually don't, but I am curious. What camp are you from?
I'm originally from the original ISUPK, not the one today with Johanna and Tazariak. I come out the original school from New York.
Okay. Okay, so you still part of that school today?
No, that school was split up a few times. So
Okay.
no, I'm no longer a part of that school. No,
Are you part of any school right now?
no.
Okay, so you're just kind of almost doing your own thing in a sense?
Well, I have a few brothers that I congregate with. You know, we have our own little congregation that we have out here. You know, it's not big. We small. We about 10, 12 of us. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool. All right. Well, honestly, I think we should just start in Romans 11 at the beginning. I think that'll be the best course of action. So let's go ahead and start. And I don't want to read every single verse, but if you want me to, I can. Just because I want us to kind of dialogue back and forth about certain things. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's be know we're trying to get to the point to find out what exactly here.
Right. Um, okay, so I'll just start at the very beginning and we'll read up to verse like 7 or 8.
No, no,
Um,
I'm saying we're coming to Romans 11 because we're trying to establish what exactly going to Romans 11.
you saying what's the premise? What are we trying to establish?
Yes, yes,
So my understanding is that these Gentiles are not Israelites, and you don't hold that same view, correct?
correct.
Okay, yeah. So that's basically the argument. You have your premise, I have mine, and we're gonna look at Romans 11. We're gonna see where we get to, right?
Okay.
All right.
Is it possible for you to blow your screen up anymore or no?
Oh yeah.
You're sharing. Yeah,
Is that better?
I mean, yeah, that's better.
Is it not as good as it could be?
Could it be bigger or no?
Um,
If not,
what the
we have to go with that.
you want the print bigger?
I know. I guess how this for whatever reason your screen sharing is not filling up what I have on my screen, and it was like in the middle of it. I don't know why it's doing that. It should blow it up to the whole thing. It's not doing that though, for whatever reason.
All right, is that better? Because if I make it any bigger,
All right, that's fine. We'll
gonna
go.
look nuts. Well, I guess I could do it like this. This is fine.
Yeah, you go with that.
Okay. All right. So I want to start at the very last verse of Romans 10 and then flow into Romans 11 because we understand that Paul's epistles, which are letters, they were written continuously and without chapter and verse. So then logically follow that this came right before what Paul's going into in Romans 11. Verse 21 of Romans 10. But to Israel he saith, all day long have I stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. Actually, wait, I gotta go back more because we gotta see who actually said this. Okay, we'll start at verse 19. Sorry. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. But Isaiah is very bold and says, I was found of them that sought me not, and I was made manifest unto them that ask not after me. But to Israel he saith, all day long have I stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. So I guess we'll start here because I feel like most of I know you might have this question. Where is Paul getting his references from when he's speaking in Romans 11, right?
Uh,
Is that one of your questions you sometimes ask when you're looking at that?
no, not me, because I know where he's getting it from.
So where do you think he's getting it from?
The Old Testament.
Yeah, but where in the Old Testament?
In Isaiah. You're getting me? He's quoting Isaiah 65 and 1 and Isaiah 65 and 2.
Okay. So in Isaiah 65 and 1, um, let me just read it real quick. I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. So uh, when God is speaking here, is he speaking of non-Israelites?
In Isaiah, he's saying?
Yeah, in Isaiah 1, or like all throughout Isaiah, basically. Isaiah 65.
No, he's speaking of Israelites.
Okay, so when it says unto a nation that was not called by my name, are you saying that there was a portion of Israel that wasn't called by the name of God?
No, there was a point where the Most High said to the prophet Hosea that you should not be called by my name. Right?
Where?
He
Where?
went through it. He kind of went through it with Hosea and said that there's gonna be a point where you're not gonna be called by my name. Right?
Hosea what?
Let me get hold on 1 second. Let me pull it.
I think you're referring to Lo Ami, not my people.
I want to get the complete understanding so I can explain better. Hold on. Yeah, Hosea chapter 1, verse 8 through 10.
Okay. All right. And where does he say you won't be called by my name?
Let me Hosea chapter 1, verse starting at verse 8. He
All
says,
right.
oh, I mean, that's what am I doing? I'm in the wrong place. Okay. It says, now when she was weaned, uh, lo ruhama, she conceived and bare a son. Right? Let me get it. Let me get my translation because it's gonna help me better to go through it. Okay, so lo ruhama means not my people, right? Then it says then
Lo Ruhama?
lo ruhama is not my people.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Lo Lurama? No, it's not. What are you talking about?
Hold up.
Ruhama? No. Lo Ruhama is not loved.
Oh, verse 9. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then said God, call his name Lo Ami, not my people. My bad. You correct.
Right.
So verse 9 is where it's saying not my people. You agree?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Okay. It says, "For ye are not my people, and I will not be your God."
All
So
right.
this is where you get Isaiah coming in and saying he's speaking to that's not my people, because at a certain point the Most High had disowned Israel.
Yeah, but that wasn't my question though. My question in Isaiah 65, he says, "Unto a nation which was not called by his name." Right? When you look at the word called, kara, it's perfect tense. It means something that happened in the past. That actually happened, like past tense, just straight past tense. So if that's the case, then you would have to show where the northern Israelites or whoever you're purporting are the ones Isaiah is speaking about, that they were not called by God's name. Because I can show you where all of Israel, like all together collectively, is called by God's name. Let me just bring that up real quick.
No, I'm showing you at some point they stopped being called by God's name, correct?
No, 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 but the calling is a past tense. It's not a continuous thing, a continuous calling. It's a past tense action.
I'm not understanding your question. Then I mean, if you, Hosea, are you saying Hosea trend happens after Isaiah or before Isaiah?
It happens, I think, around the same time. I
It
think
had to be
Hosea
before.
and
I think it
Amos.
be
No, no, I think
before
Hosea
Isaiah.
and Amos were contemporaries with Isaiah.
Let me look.
I know we have a chronology in our Bible, but I'm almost positive Hosea and Amos were contemporary prophets, but they were just preaching in different localities. But that still kind of gets away from the question. The calling is something that happens. It's like a one-time thing that happens. It's a calling at one point in someone's life, a collective group's life, and it's not something that happens every single day.
But there's only one people that was ever called by God's name, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
In the history of Israel, at a certain point when you're looking at it, yes. But then later, there's more people that are called.
You mean outside of Israel? You saying
Yeah, outside of Israel,
who?
the Gentiles.
Where?
I mean, the first time Peter goes to preach to the Gentiles, first time Paul goes to preach to the Gentiles. When Paul's writing these letters to the Gentiles, he calls them saints. I mean, all these different things. So what do you think a calling is?
Those are diaspora Israelites.
Okay, well that's on you to prove that, you
I
know.
can prove
So
it.
that's what we're doing today. We're
I can
looking
prove
at
it.
Romans 11,
Okay.
but now we're looking at what Paul quoted at the end of Romans 10. It brought us to Isaiah 65. And then I asked you that initial question, was all of Israel called by God's name?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And a calling is something that happens in the past. It's not something that it's like, oh, God's not going to call you anymore. Like, no, he already called. It's like when I call you on the cell phone, it's like, hey, I called you last week. That's basically what it is. It's similar to me giving you a call on the phone. So in Deuteronomy 28 and 10, just to reiterate it, and all people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. So you would agree this is all of Israel in front of Moses, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So in Isaiah 65, this nation was not called by his name. And it's actually the same exact Hebrew word, same exact parsing. They're both in the katal perfect tense, and it's both kara. So this nation wasn't called, but all of Israel was called. So then that would logically follow that this nation is not Israel, correct?
No, this nation has to be Israel. That's why I went to Hosea and show you that that's who he's speaking of.
But he doesn't speak about a calling there. He just speaks about them being not a people and his people. But there's nothing about a calling in Hosea. You would agree, right? There's nothing about a calling.
It says right here, it says not called by my name in
Right
Isaiah
here in Isaiah
65.
65, right?
Yes.
Yes, unto a nation that was not called, past tense, which is the perfect tense, kara. But what do we see in Deuteronomy 28 and 10? That they were called, kara, perfect tense.
Okay, that's what went to Hosea and said they lost that name calling.
Where you see
Now,
the name,
now they're not called by his name.
okay, where do you see that?
I just read
We
it.
just read Hosea. We just read it. I didn't see anything about a calling. It just said, not my people.
Okay, if if someone is called your people, correct? Someone is
No, no, no.
called.
We're focused on the word called,
I'm
like
I'm I'm, I'm
specifically. We're not talking about concepts. We're just talking about the exact word itself.
I'm using what you're saying. If someone is called your people,
No, it's
called
called
your
by the
people.
name of God, not called your people, called by the name of God.
Wait a minute. So are you saying in Isaiah that it doesn't mention a people?
It does mention the people.
Okay, so okay, let's start over again then, because we know it's speaking of a people in Hosea chapter 1 verse 8. Speaking of a people.
Right, but it's not talking about them being called. It's just talking about them being a people or not the people of God.
Okay, but if the people of God have to be called by His name, yes or no?
Yes, because this
Okay,
is yes.
so you're arguing semantics just because it does not say name. You arguing semantics. We know that this people is called by His name in Hosea. We know that.
Yeah, but I disagree with who this is being spoken about in Hosea, and I don't want to get too deep into it. So I agree that you have to be called to be his people, but
No,
this,
called by His name, not no called by His name to be His
yeah,
people.
but the okay, can we agree that the calling is past tense, right?
Where and what we're talking about?
Like when in Deuteronomy 28 and 10, when it says you have been called by the name of the Lord, called is past tense, right? It's something that happened in the past, right?
Yes, I would. I mean, I could agree
Okay.
with that. I mean, it's in the wilderness that it took place. So
Right. And
geographically,
once a calling is made, it can't be said that they were not called. It can only be said that they were forsaken or however, they judgment came upon them. But it can't be said later that they were not called if they were called, correct?
yes, it can.
How can okay, wouldn't that be a contradiction?
No, I mean that's English. If we go into the Hebrew, that's what I'm saying. If we know that in Hosea he's speaking of the nation of Israel, yes or no?
But wait, you made a linguistic claim. What do you mean in the English, yes, but in the Hebrew, no? State your claim in the Hebrew from Isaiah 65 and 1. How is it different when it says
What I'm using.
yeah, wait, but let me lay out the question. How is it different from when he says a nation not called and today you are called by my name in Deuteronomy 28 and 10 and Isaiah 65 and 1?
It's the tenses in Hebrew where you have
Okay.
you have, you have, you have the perfect tense and you have the imperfect tense in Hebrew, correct?
Okay, where's the imperfect tense at?
Now you have to make me. Now I have to go into. I have to go pull up. I got to pull up the Hebrew screen, and share my screen and show you. But I'm trying to show you that the context in Hosea is speaking of the nation of Israel. In
Okay,
Hosea, he says in Hosea that in the ninth verse that you're not my people. So if there was his people and now they're not his people, that means they're no longer called by his name.
but
That, that
wait.
how
So
you would
okay,
use
wait.
it.
Okay, so wait. You brought up the perfect and the imperfect tense. Where were you going with this? Because it seems like when you bring that up, you understand that okay, imperfect tense is in this verse, perfect tense is in this verse. So which verse are you saying is in the imperfect tense as far as called?
Yeah, because you're saying it's past tense called, right?
Perfect tense, yes,
Something was called something. So I mean, when we're talking about a perfect tense in Hebrew, talk about something that's been completed, correct?
yes. So which one's in the
It's
imperfect
it's it's
tense?
it's, it's, it's finished, right? Okay, but you're saying that in Isaiah, you said in Isaiah that they were never called. They mean they were never called, correct?
Yes.
What you were saying?
Yeah, lo kara is what the Hebrew says, lo kara.
Okay, so we know in Isaiah 65, it is speaking of the nation, the same nation of people that are called by his name. Yes or no?
In Isaiah 65, it's speaking to the same nation of people that were called.
By his name, yes.
It says, unto a nation that was not called by my name.
Okay, there
I don't get your point. Are you saying who's the audience?
who's Isaiah writing to?
Oh, Isaiah is definitely writing to the Jews.
Okay, so
But he's speaking, but wait, you got to understand. He's speaking about somebody to the Jews, correct?
who he's speaking about the to the Jews about somebody else, you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, who is he speaking of? Who's he speaking to the Jews about somebody else? Who's that?
Okay, so when you look at the word called, you have to look at the fact that it's perfect tense, but it's also third person. So when we have those the person, you have first person, which is I, second person, which is your audience, and third person is who you're speaking about. So when he speaks about unto a nation that was not called by my name, he is speaking to the Jews about somebody else. That's the only logical and grammatical way that it would follow.
Oh, let me get Deuteronomy 21.
And you still need to make your case on the imperfect and why you brought it up. Uh, like where is the imperfect tense and what's your point with that? And just bringing up the fact that imperfect means something doesn't mean anything if it's not in what we're looking at.
I was bringing up the perfect and imperfect tense because you were saying that they were not called.
Yeah, perfect tense. They were not in the past called.
Okay, okay.
So how would the imperfect tense have any
So
bearing on it if it's not present in the text?
because you have called ed at the end, right? Not called, right?
Yeah,
They're not called at all. So you saying so in the perfect tense, that means it's completed, yes or no?
it's something that did not happen in the past.
Wait a minute. I so
Because
you
you have so the full term this is actually a construct word. Lo quora. Lo is the negation. Quora is called the perfect tense. So not in the past called by his name or by my name because this is God speaking.
okay, was there a point where Israel was not called by God's name?
At this point in Israel's time, they were called by God's name.
That was my question is, was there a time when they wasn't called by his name?
Was there a time?
Yes.
Um, no, I wouldn't say so.
Then what is Hosea saying then?
What is Hosea saying?
Yes.
And I believe Hosea is speaking about the Gentiles that are part of Israel.
So Hosea chapter 1 is speaking of is speaking of non-Israelites in there, you saying?
Yeah, because when you look at Paul's writings, he even says, think about this, that all Israel is not all Israel.
Okay.
That would be like saying all Africans are not all African. I'd be like, wait, so there's other people besides Africans that are African? That's basically what that means with the Israelites. There's people who are not Israelites who are Israelites.
Okay. So you're saying that the prophet Hosea is speaking of non-Israelites here, right?
Yeah, because all the prophets were speaking in the spirit. Yeah. He was speaking to a certain audience, but that doesn't mean that everything he said was 100% about them because you have to understand the prophets are speaking of things in terms of the future. Most cases.
Okay, so Israel has always retained their name, always retain God's name, correct?
What do you mean retain God's name?
Because you said that there was no point where they was not called by his name. So once they got his name, they always kept it, correct?
Okay, what do you mean by name? Let's go. Let's go there.
God's name,
Yeah, what's name mean?
Israel.
That's God's name?
Yes, according to the text, yes.
God's name is Israel.
Yes, that's what the text said.
Brother, is Israel means to prevail with God, with El.
Okay, so when we read Numbers chapter 6, when God tell them to put my name on the children of Israel, what name did they put on Israel?
What name did they put on Israel?
Yes.
What the question still subsides. It's still there. What is the word name? What does that mean?
Israel means a prince of God.
No, brother, I'm not asking what the name Israel means. I'm asking what the word itself, name, what that word means.
Someone's someone's fame or someone's name that they go by.
Well, that would be a title. That would be a title.
Okay.
Uh, when you look at name, um, name in the Hebrew, basically, it means either character or authority. More times than not, it means authority. Sometimes it does mean character, though, especially in the Greek as well. So when it talks about being called by the name of God, it's being called by God's authority. So his authority is his law, his word. Would you agree?
No, that's his no, that's his law, statutes, and commandments.
Yeah, that's his authority. That's
No,
his authority he's laid down.
no, his authority is his authority to be your position.
Okay. So, and his position is what? Lawgiver?
His position is the creator.
Okay, but what other is that the only position that God holds?
No, he won't win position. But I'm saying as far as we're talking about authority, the authority because he's the creator. He has the
Okay, but
authority to do what he want to do.
as our God and as our Lord, what authority does he hold over us?
All authority over us.
Okay, and what would that entail?
Everything.
Okay, but in essence of conduct, would that entail that he has authority over me based on his laws and what he's prescribed?
His authority, he has authority over you to tell you what to do.
Right? That's
It's
his
up to you to choose whether you want to do it or not now. That's different.
right. Unto a nation that was not called by my name. That's what that is, authority.
Okay, but I'm asking you if the nation of Israel is called by his name, I'm asking you, what is that name?
What is that name? It's his authority. It's Yahweh.
That's a position. You keep bringing a position up.
No. That's not his position. That's his authority. You want to look up authority? We can do this real quick.
Authority, someone's authority has to do with their position. You can't have authority over me unless you have a position over me.
Okay. The power or right to give orders and enforce obedience.
You're defining a position again.
No, that's what authority means. The power or right to give orders and enforce obedience.
We going in circles here with this.
How is that a position? That's the definition of authority.
Because if you cannot tell me what to do, if you have a position over me,
But
if
that's his authority, is
if
he
you
does have a position over you, but that's his authority. It's not the position itself. It's the fact that he's able, he has the power to give orders and to enforce obedience.
because of the if he doesn't have the position, he couldn't do it.
No, the authority establishes no. The position is established by the authority, not the other way around.
It is the other way around.
Okay, how do you say so? What do you mean by that?
You
Explain.
cannot if me and you are on equal plane, we're equal. You can't tell me what to do. You have to
Okay.
first you have to first get a position over me, then tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do while we're on equal plane.
So how does that have any bearing on the definition I gave for name that was not called by my authority?
Because I'm asking you what the name is, and you keep bringing up a position.
Authority? That's a position.
Yes, authority dictates a position, and I'm asking you.
Authority dictates a position.
Yes, if you have a if authority dictates that you have some kind of position, otherwise you don't have
Okay.
it, right? So, but my question isn't that. My question to you, I'm asking you, what is the name that the nation is called by? So I'm asking you.
It's God's authority. I don't know where else you want me to go with this. It's the fact that he is God and he has the power to command them to do certain things.
So you saying that the Israelites are called by God's authority? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. When you look at when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 10, when it says all of Israel was called by God's name, what was read before that point? What was stated by Moses?
I don't know. I have to go read it. I don't understand. I have to read it too. I don't want to.
Brother, it's the law. Deuteronomy is literally duo nomos, second law. So that's literally what was read was the law, the authority. After reading all of this law, Moses says, "You have previously been called by God's authority because I just read to you what God wants you to do. These
So
are the orders. These are the orders that God has given. Ha, you have been called by God's authority. Now go and live."
so now Israel is called Torah then.
What are you talking about? No, the Torah is the teaching.
That's you just said earlier that's the authority,
No, the authority. Oh my.
brother. Did you not say
Okay,
earlier that the
look, no, no,
authority
no.
is
We
law?
define, look, listen, we defined authority as the power to give orders. The orders are the Torah. Moses gave the Torah to the children of Israel by the direction of God. He is the one that has the power or the authority to give those. Therefore, that is his name, his authority. And then he establishes his authority in the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, which means I exist. That's why I have authority. Is because I exist by myself, and you don't. You're dependent on me. That's why I have authority over you.
But that is you again defining a position again.
And that's what authority. I mean, I guess you could say it's a position. That's fine, but this is unto a nation that was not called by my name. So this still detracts from the main point that I had made earlier. How can you said it reads different in the Hebrew, and I need you to explain uh how can Moses say in Deuteronomy 28 and 10 to all of Israel, you have been called by the name of God, and then Isaiah over here says unto a nation that was not called by my name, and this be both speaking about Israel.
Because they lost God's name. When they lost God's name at that point, they were not called by his name.
Okay, so wait. So you're saying because they lost God's name, that therefore negates in the past that they were actually called by his name.
That's what Isaiah is speaking of when he's
So it
speaking of.
negates the calling. It's not negating like, oh, I lost the name. It's negating the calling altogether. Like it's saying the calling never happened. So is that what that's saying?
No, it's speaking of when they had lost the name. That's when he's speaking of them not called by his name.
No, 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 brother. The calling is something that happened in the past. He's saying this did not happen in the past with this nation. This calling never happened. Do you see the stalemate we're at? Because I mean,
Okay,
it's
listen. Okay, listen. The statement is, I'm giving you my explanation of what it is saying. You disagree. Obviously, you disagree, right? And that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking you question. I'm asking you, has Israel ever lost God's name? And you said no. You said they've always had God's name. You said they never lost it. So I said
wait. When did I say that?
when I asked you because you said that they was called by God's name and they always had the name. So I asked you, I said, what is
No,
Hosea saying
no,
then?
I never said. Wait. You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that they always had the name.
Well, okay, that's the reason why I recorded it. I can play it back when you said it.
That's fine. Go ahead and play it back. I never said
Oh,
that.
I finished, but I can't do it right now while we're recording it. But when we're done, I can go back and play it to you when you said it.
For sure. Go ahead.
That's the reason why I asked you. I said, has Israel ever lost God's name? I asked you that.
It's not about losing or having God's name. It's about being called by his name. So it's talking about a specific event in the past. It's not talking about what they have in a current situation. Would you agree?
I agree with you, but I'm
Okay, okay, all right, wait, hold up, sorry, wait, hold up. We gotta move slow on this one. So if you agree that it's about something that happened in the past, then you have to admit that Israel in the past was called by God's name. Whether at some point in time they still have that name or not, that doesn't matter. The calling in the past is still there, correct?
I never denied that.
Okay, so if the calling in the past is still there, then what Isaiah is speaking about is this is a nation that was not in the past called by God's name. So you're talking about something that happened historically in the past, not something about somebody's current condition.
Okay, now let me go over it one more time again. What I am saying to you is that in the past they were caused by God's name. At some point in the past, they
Nothing can negate that, right?
no, at some point in the past they lost being called by God's name.
But if, okay, so the
So
fact that they lost being called by God's name, does that now negate that they were called in the past by God's name?
no, I know that's what I said. I agree that was called by God's name in the past. I'm explaining to you what I understand Isaiah is saying in 65 when he said that was not called by my name. I'm saying to you that that's speaking of in Hosea when he's saying not my people.
Yeah, but that's a loss of possession, not a loss of something that happened historically. You can't change what happened in the past, right? Like once you're called, like okay, let's say for instance, when you were 10 years old, you were called by God's name, right? But when you were 20 years old, you lost his name because of whatever disobedience or whatever. Does that now negate that you were called by God's name at age 10?
No.
Okay, that is look, that is my point. The fact that what happened in the past can't be changed by something that happens later on. That still happened. So Isaiah is saying this nation was never called by God's name in the past. So this cannot be Israel linguistically. It can't. And you keep going back and saying, well, they're not a people, but they never lost that history that they have of once being called by God's name. They never lost that.
Okay, so that's why I asked you, who is it speaking of then?
This is speaking about the church.
Okay, prove it.
Prove it.
Yeah, prove. Remember. Let's stay with Isaiah context. You said that when it's saying
Hmm.
a people that are not called by His name, correct?
Hmm.
A people, yes or no?
Right, right. But a
That's a
people,
Pacific nation.
no, no, a people is not always a specific nation. A nation just means a collection of people. That those people don't have to be the same ethnicity. They can be different ethnicities.
How is that?
Because a nation literally just means a collection of people. It most of the time when we see it, it designates a certain nation that's already set up with its borders, but it doesn't have to be that every single time.
Okay, which time does it not mean that?
Which time does it not mean that?
Yeah,
Right here.
where?
Right here, unto a nation that was not called by my name. You want me to keep reading? The nation's not named. That's the whole point. It's a nation. If the nation's not named, then how can you say, oh, which nation is this?
But
Well,
no,
God doesn't tell you.
you're saying that it isn't one nation though. I said it's one nation. You saying it isn't?
It is one nation, but it's not like a nation like America or like Switzerland. It's not like a country of one ethnic type of people. That's my point I'm making.
Okay, prove
Um,
that. Prove that.
It's not named. It doesn't have a name. It just says a nation. A nation is just a collection of people. It's a goy.
I'm
That's all.
saying
That's all that is.
I'm saying prove that a people is a collection of different nations.
The word here is goy, and it's
Okay.
also used of foreign people in Israel. It's used of that countless times. Goy.
How are you proving in Isaiah that is speaking of multiple nations? I don't understand that.
Well, it doesn't name this goy. Nation is kind of vague because you could say it's nation, but it's just a people. That's all it is. It's a collection of people. It's
You
kind of like it's kind of like how the word church. The word church doesn't mean building, right?
It depends on how you use it.
The word church means building in the Bible.
It depends how you. It depends. I'm saying not in the Bible. So how you. I'm saying how you use the word. The word church. That I'm speaking of the English word church. Depending how you use that word, the English word, it could donate a building.
No, it never in the Bible it never denotes a building. It always denotes a collection of people, a group of people.
Okay.
So let me just keep reading and I'll just make my point real quick in here. And we'll go back to Romans 11. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people which walketh in a way that was not good. Would you agree that this is Israel?
Of course.
Okay. Which walketh in a way which was not good, after their own thoughts, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, saith the Lord, which have burned incense upon the mountains. Let me take this Hebrew off for a second. Which have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed upon the hills. Therefore will I measure their former work into their bosom. Thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servants' sake, that I may not destroy them all. I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Judah, an inheritor of my mountains, and mine elect shall inherit it, and my servant shall dwell there. So he makes a distinction between his elect from Israel and my servant. And as we get to verse 12,
No, his
there,
servant is Israel.
what'd you say?
His servants are Israel.
Yeah, but not just straight up Israelites.
Straight up Israelite. It tells you that in Isaiah 43, it tells you that ye are my servants. Nobody else is his servants but Israel.
Okay, you can keep going with that. That's fine, but I don't hold that.
Okay.
Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. So the servant that's being spoken about from verse 1 was a nation that was never called. And then God speaks about preserving an elect of Israel for his servant's sake. Okay. Are you following that?
No, I'm not following that. I mean, the Isaiah is clear that only Israelites are his servants. So I don't know he's trying to bring somebody else in. I mean, you've been reading and you've been reading is all they've been saying is about one nation of people. Still, when you've been reading that,
Yeah, but the nation of people in verse 1 was not never called by his name. And all of Israel was called by God's name in Deuteronomy 28 and 10. That's like, you can't negate the past. Doesn't matter if they threw away that calling or whatever, that calling still happened. That's like saying if I called you 2 days ago and you deleted my number, it doesn't negate the fact that I called you 2 days ago. It doesn't. And even in verse 12, it says, because when I called, you did not answer. You agreed that Isaiah is speaking to the Jews. So he is even saying, when I had called you, you did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. But then he goes on to say, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. My servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So the whole point is that this nation was not called by God's name, and there's no way they can be Israel because all of Israel was at one point called by God's name. This is a past tense event that can't be, you can't just erase history. That's the whole point. So as we get into uh, Romans 11, that's the attitude that Paul is coming with, is this nation that was never called by God's name. Who is this nation? Because he's already dealt with questions regarding Israel And in verse 1, he says, I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. So he's talking about the elect here. What ye not what the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel. So he's speaking against Israel, speaking about how they have digged down the altars and they're worshiping Baal. And then he goes on in verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So we agree right here that there's an elect portion of Israel, and then the remaining, everybody else that's not elect is blinded, correct?
Uh, yeah, those that had the opportunity to believe and didn't believe, then yeah, those were blinded. But you have to first be given an opportunity to believe before you were blinded. You just
That's
can't
not
be
what it said.
blinded. You just can't be blind. You just can't be blinded with it. Okay, so what you're saying is that God is blinding people for no reason then?
No, not for no reason, for his glory.
No, okay, so he said that Israel haven't obtained what they had. I said, but the elect has. Why? Because the elect believed.
Yeah, but the elect means called out.
Okay, so out of the called out ones, they believed, so they wasn't blinded. Now those that was, remember, the text is many are called, but few chosen. So even though you're called, you can still reject your calling.
Yeah, but if God calls you to be his son, you're gonna be his son. Your will is not more powerful than the will of the creator. Doesn't
That's
matter
not
how which way you
that's not
slice
true.
it.
That's not true. God,
So
God,
okay, wait. So you believe that the will of the creature is more powerful than the will of the creator.
God called Israel, and some of Israel rejected it. Even the Messiah
Okay.
rejected.
So you're saying the creature is more powerful than the creator?
I'm not saying that. You're saying that. I'm telling you what
Okay,
happened.
are you saying the will is more powerful? Whose will is more
I'm not.
powerful?
I'm not. God will is more powerful, but I'm saying He gave
Okay,
you
so
choice.
okay, wait. So if God's will is more powerful, then we can't reject his will, correct?
Yes, because He gave you a choice to.
Well, okay, wait. Brother, if his will is more powerful, how if God wants to do one thing yet you want to do another, who's going to win?
He's going to win if
Oh, okay. No. There's no
if you
if.
don't.
He's,
There is
he's
a if. There is a big. You keep getting the fact that Israel turned against God.
okay, but here's the thing. The question is, if God wills one thing and man wills another, who's going to win the battle?
I said you. If He gives you a choice, yes,
So if he doesn't give you a choice, what?
no,
Why not?
because
God's not wait, God's not going to win the battle. You're saying?
no, He's going to win because you have no choice in the matter.
Okay, what if if you still have a choice yet God wants something to happen and you choose something else to happen, who wins the battle?
If you,
You win the battle. So
yes,
our will is more powerful than the will of the creator when we choose. Is that
that's
what you're
not
saying?
no, that's not His will. That's your will. That's your
No. Here's my point. If God wills one thing and man is willing something opposite of that, and this is something he chooses, the creature, he chooses this, who wins? Is it God who wills one way or man who wills against it?
if God's will for everybody to be saved and everybody's not saved, then that
It's
means
not it's not God's will for everybody to be saved.
text do say that.
Where?
Let me get it from Thessalonians.
In Thessalonians, I think you mean Timothy. First Timothy
No,
2
I
4.
don't mean no, I didn't. I don't mean I mean Thessalonians. I get it. Let me pull it up.
Because you're gonna run into some grammatical issues.
Okay.
Because you're gonna run into some grammatical issues.
Let me pull it up. Wow, wrong place.
You're either talking about First Timothy 2 and 4 or First Peter 3 and 9. Like,
Yeah.
God's not willing that any should perish. Are you talking about that?
Yes.
Okay, First Peter 3:9.
Okay. So we see right there, but that didn't happen though.
Wait, you got to look at actually Second Peter 3:9. You got to look at the context because it's actually not saying God's not willing that any person at all should perish. It's not what it's saying.
What's it saying?
All right, so the context you have to understand is there's a conversation going on between believers and non-believers. The non-believers say in verse 3, actually verse 4, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. Now in verse 9, this is the believer talking. He says, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward. Another way of saying toward us, the believers, not willing that any is a pronoun and it refers back to us, the believers. God's not willing that any of us should perish, but that all of us should come to repentance. So he's not saying that God's not willing that any person should perish, because that would not make any sense if you read Proverbs 16 that says God made the wicked for the day of evil.
Okay.
So then God's will and God's work would be in contradictory with one another, and that wouldn't make sense within the being of God.
Okay. Has there been any believers that has stopped believing?
That have stopped believing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the battle between the inner man and the outer man, but God will always win the battle. If somebody belongs to him, they're gonna belong to him, whether they like it or not.
You just read where it says right here that the enemy means the believers. It says he didn't want let any believer to perish. Now I'm showing you where there are believers who stopped believing and they had died. I think.
Where?
Let me get it. This is crazy, bro. I don't know how you making this argument right. This argument makes no sense at all whatsoever.
I made it from the Greek text.
You always then you mentioned the overall context then of the
What's
entire.
the overall context?
No, I'm gonna read it for you where Paul and them talks about how that they left from us because they were never of us. They were
Right.
they were,
They left because they were actually never a believer.
they was a believer. They stopped believing. That's what happened.
Okay, no, why would he say they left us because they were never from us? Why would he say that if they were believers and stopped being believers?
Okay, so okay,
That's not an argument you would use.
that's the argument I would use because I'm saying to you, if they was with them at a certain point, did they believe yes or no?
No, that doesn't mean that they believed.
Wow.
Do you see how many people were with Jesus and were only there for the miracles?
When
And when
when
Jesus
they were
started,
there,
oh
when
wait,
they were there, did they believe is the point.
no, it doesn't necessitate that because they were there, they believed.
Wow. Okay. So they're just there for
What is belief? Wait, what is belief?
Wait a minute. I'm just my question. I'm asking you. So you saying they were just there for the show?
Yeah.
Wow. Got you. Okay.
So what's the definition of belief?
Belief is trust. To put trust in.
Yeah, so believe and faith are the same word. One is the noun, one is the verb. The verb is believe. So believe is the action of faith, but faith is given by God. And would you agree that when God gives a man faith, that is the beginning of God's work in a man?
Yeah, I can go with that.
Okay. All right. So then you would also have to agree with this. This is Philippians 1:6. Being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ.
Can I read Acts 15? Can you explain to me
Go,
Acts 15 right quick?
what? Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Acts 15 and what?
Acts chapter 15, and I want to read verse 5.
Okay.
You there?
Mm-hmm.
It says, but there arose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed. It says it right here. They believe right here. These Pharisees believe, yes or no? That's what it says, right? Yes or no?
Which believe, yeah.
So okay. It says, saying that it was needful to circumcise them and to command that they keep the law of Moses, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we read down in this particular chapter right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they not go against what these believing Pharisees was setting men out to go do?
Who? Paul?
But yet Paul, James, Peter.
Yeah,
Remember
but what's the reason? What's the reason?
the Pharisees, they believed, but they was going out, sending men out to teach people that they got to be circumcised, right? Which the church
Yeah.
disagreed with.
Which people need to be circumcised? Who needs to be circumcised?
All believers need to be circumcised.
We're okay.
Hold on, brother.
All believers?
Hold on, because your background has a plane, and this phone is
Oh,
going off. So I can hear what you're saying. This phone stopped ringing. I don't know. I thought I turned this ringer off. Let me turn this ringer off. I don't know why I leave it on.
thought there was a way I could. Yeah, these F-16s are going off. Um, all right, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Paul talks about these same Pharisees who believe in the book of Galatians chapter 2. These are the same men he's speaking of here, right? He's speaking of these men in Galatians, the second chapter. That these men came out, they said he came to spy our liberty, he says. That's what he said. They came to spy our liberty, but Acts tells us that these men believe. But Paul is saying they came to spy our liberty, which we have in Jesus Christ. All right?
Yeah.
So what Paul is saying here, that these men, at some point, they did believe, but because the church didn't go with what they were trying to push, you know what I'm saying? These men eventually did not stay in.
No, it's more so because they were so accustomed to the ritual of the law. They weren't aware of the true application of these rituals, and that the Holy Spirit coming upon us and indwelling us fulfills this portion of circumcision. It's the true circumcision. So they were worried with the ritual, the outwardly, but Christ and his disciples were worried about inwardly. And he was saying, besides this, these are Gentiles. They don't need to be subject to this.
Yeah, but again, the church disagreed with these men.
No, Jesus disagreed with them as well.
Okay, did the church disagree with it?
The church that was founded by Peter, the apostle of Jesus. Yes,
Peter didn't found no church. You know, even
he
the
was
head,
he was
you
the
know,
he
the head
was
of the
the
church.
rock. He was the rock on which all the like he was literally the head guy upon the apostles.
No, he wasn't. James was the head of the church.
In Jerusalem, yes, but as far as like as a whole, it was Peter.
Where is that at? What verse says that?
You don't remember when Jesus said to Peter, "On this rock will I build my church"? Peter is Petros. It means rock.
No, that means like a small stone.
Yeah, Peter is the word Petros in Greek. It
But
literally means stone.
brother, Paul says no foundation can be laid that's already laid, which is Jesus Christ. He's the foundation.
Right,
Okay,
but
hold up,
do
brother.
you
Again,
hear? Okay, but
you
listen,
building a
listen.
found. If the foundation is Christ, it can't be Peter.
But if Jesus, no, he's not speaking, he's speaking about the foundation of our faith. He's not speaking about the foundation of the church. You understand the church is a collection of people, right?
Well, you saying that the church is built on Peter, not Christ?
No, yeah, the church, yes, not our faith. Our faith is not built on Peter. The church is built on Peter because that was its foundation.
Wait,
He was going to be the leader after Christ had left. And he
brother,
was going
the foundation is Christ, yes or no?
the foundation of our faith, yes, is Christ.
No, the church.
We're okay. Are you aware of what I'm quoting from what Jesus said?
Yes, I understand what you. That's why I respond to you by saying the rock is Jesus Christ. Christ is called the rock. He's called the rock. I'm saying to you, Peter is a small little stone.
Yeah, because
He's not a big
he's the
boulder.
foundation of our salvation. He's the foundation of our faith.
No, he isn't. Christ is the
Christ isn't?
foundation. Christ is the foundation that the church is built upon, not Peter.
No, he's the foundation of our faith. The faith is what gathers the believers.
Wait a minute. So you saying that you believe in Peter and not the Messiah?
Where do you get that from?
But
I'm talking,
you say
I'm
our
literally
faith.
just, I'm
You say
just
our
talking.
faith. If your faith is in Peter, then it's not the Messiah.
Okay, listen. I'm just going to read the scripture. This is Matthew 16 and verse 18. This is Jesus speaking. And I say also unto thee that you are Peter, Petros, and upon this rock, Petra, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Okay, I'm
Do
explaining
you
to you.
agree with it? Do you agree with that?
No, with the way you're explaining it, no. What I'm
Wait,
saying,
I didn't even explain it. I just read it. Do you agree with what Jesus said there?
brother,
That upon Peter, the rock, he will build his church.
that's not what he's saying.
So Petros and Petra are not the same thing?
No, the rock is Jesus Christ.
Oh, wait. Why would he say upon this rock? He's speaking
He's speaking
to
about
Peter.
himself. He's speaking about himself, him.
Why
Upon
didn't he
him
say
is
upon
the rock.
myself I will he doesn't say that upon myself I will build the church.
We know because when we look after this event, the church or the faith has nothing to do with Peter. It's Christ.
Okay, brother, do you know what a demonstrative pronoun is?
Brother, do you know what actually happened? Yes or no?
Brother, just
That's
real
my
quick, because
point to you.
I brought the scripture up. Do you know what a demonstrative pronoun is? A
No, brother.
near demonstrative pronoun.
No, I don't know what that means, brother.
Okay, so it's literally as it explains in the English, this or that or those over there. It's speaking in as far as distance, but it's something separate from yourself. So when you say, I have this mouse, I have this keyboard, this is something that's near to you, but that's distinct from you. So when he says, I say unto you, Peter, somebody separate from himself, and upon this rock will I build my church. It's a play on Peter's name because Peter means rock. I don't see how you could read it any other way. He's not,
Who is called the rock in the Bible, brother?
brother.
I'm
Who
asking.
is he calling rock here?
I understand. Listen, wow, you answer my question at all. I answer all your question. You can answer my question at all.
I did.
No, you didn't. I said who is
Brother,
called.
you're deflecting. I'm asking you a question, and
I
you're
did answer your
asking another
question.
question.
No, I did. I answered your question.
So who's the rock here that he will build his church on?
Christ.
So why doesn't he say, I will build the church on myself?
Because that's what he is saying here. The reason why I'm saying it is because when we look what actually transpired, the church was not built on Peter.
No. You're detracting. You're deflecting. You're deflecting. I'm asking why grammatically doesn't he just say, "Upon myself, the rock, I will build my church"?
I don't know. I don't know why
It's
they treat
because
it
your
that way.
understanding is wrong. Your
That's based
understanding is
on
wrong.
no. Your understanding is wrong because you can't show no scripture that says that the foundation is Peter.
Right here, Peter, bro. What does Peter mean? What does Peter
Okay,
mean,
so
brother? Wait.
wait a minute.
What,
So wait a minute. So Paul's
brother?
wrong then.
What does Peter mean?
I said Peter means a small stone.
What's another word for stone,
Peter,
brother? A rock. Are you kidding?
a small
What?
rock, a small rock, a small stone.
Okay. And upon this, which rock is in front of him? Which
Christ is
stone?
speaking of his.
No. Which stone? No. This is distinct from yourself. He doesn't say upon myself. He says upon this. So this is something that is away from him, that's distinct from him. So when he says you are, I'll just transliterate Peter's name. You are a little rock, and upon this rock will I build my church.
Okay, so if Peter is a little rock, a little stone, you don't build a church on a little stone. You need a boulder, something bigger to build it on.
So God needs, you're saying like it's impossible?
I didn't say it's impossible. What I'm saying to you, when we look forward into from that,
Yeah, I mean, when we
what
talk, brother,
finish,
we talk about
Can I
possibilities and
finish?
impossibilities.
We're not talking
It
about
doesn't.
possibilities. I'm speaking
You
about
said
what
it's
actually
impossible.
happened. What actually happened with that, we see that Paul comes and say Christ is the foundation. Don't say
Foundation of what?
the foundation of the church.
Where do you see that?
Saying.
Where do you see that?
Wow. Make it in Corinthians. We gonna read it. That's just crazy, man.
And that's fine, but you're just negating what Jesus says here.
You negating what actually happened. This is crazy.
No, I'm agreeing with Jesus,
brother. If Jesus said that and it didn't happen, that means he couldn't have said that because it didn't happen.
How would it have happened?
It would say that Peter is the foundation. That's what it would say. But it
So
don't say that.
okay, if Jesus says that Peter, which means small rock, and upon this rock, Peter, will I build my church. If he says that, and yet it doesn't later say Peter's the foundation of the church, you're saying it's false.
I'm saying that that's not what he's saying there in Matthew, what you're reading. I'm saying to you what he's saying there, you are a
Okay.
small rock, and upon me, the rock, I'm gonna build my church. That's what he's saying
Where,
there.
where does it say me? Show me that in Greek.
Oh my
If
God.
you can't show me that, we'll go on to the next point.
We go on to the next point, bro.
Can you show
That
me
makes no
me in
sense at
Greek?
all
And
whatsoever.
but in Matthew 16 and 18, can you show me the word me in Greek? You said it says me. Are you gonna admit that you just lied there?
I said what he means is I didn't say says me. I said what he's saying there is that on me, I'm gonna build my church. What I'm saying he's saying.
Okay, what?
I
Okay,
didn't say the text says that. I said that's
okay,
what he's saying.
okay. So if the text doesn't say that, how can you say that he's saying that?
Because when we read further on from the apostles, they said that he is the foundation of the church.
Okay, so
The Old Testament called him the rock.
okay, so but it doesn't say in the linguistics of Matthew 16 and 18 that Jesus is saying he himself is the rock that he's speaking of, correct?
Brother, no, it. I don't know.
It doesn't say that
I got to go
linguistically.
into the
Okay.
Greek. I don't know. If I don't know. I can't say I do. I don't know. I have to go to the Greek to see myself. I
Okay.
think.
You're making some truth claims on something you saying you don't know about. So just saying that, you know, just be careful with that. But
You know,
let's move on. Let's go
you
back
making
because
claims something
we're
that
getting
didn't happen, which is
I'm just
contrary to what I'm
I was just
saying.
speaking from the Greek and what Christ said. That was it. That was plainly it. And you were saying it doesn't say that in the Greek.
I never
He
said
says
that.
me.
I never said that. I didn't say it in Greek. I never said that.
You
Put the
did
words in my
say
mouth.
you did say he says me, I will build a rock upon the church.
I didn't say.
Me.
I said that's what he is saying. I didn't say the text says that.
Yeah, if you say that's what he's saying, and yet what's written isn't matching up with that, then that's not true, correct? I
What
can't say that
happened
God said
matching up?
something if it's not in the text, right?
What actually happened is matching up though.
But brother, I can't like if I said that God said something and it wasn't in the text, would it be true?
It all depends if it happened.
No, no, no. If I said that God said something and in the text, that's not what it's not in the text, is that true? Did he actually say that thing?
Not
Yes or no?
necessarily because
Not
it
necessarily.
could have been mistranslated. It could have been mistranslated.
Okay, so let's say I knew the
Stuff could have
Greek and the
been missing.
Hebrew. Let's say I knew the Greek and the Hebrew. Nothing's really missing, honestly, because God said he would preserve his perfect word, and his word is like silver tried in the furnace 7 times. So let's say I knew Greek and Hebrew perfectly, and I'm saying that God said something and it's not actually in the text at all. Is that true or false?
But it all depends because there are many manuscripts and different things. So I don't know how you gauge it. Is that did it actually happen? Is how you
No, no,
gauge
no,
it.
no. Did God actually say it? That's the question.
We how would you know God said something if it never happened?
It's in his word.
Okay, so if God said something but it didn't come to pass, did God say it?
If God said something but it didn't come to pass, did
Yes,
God say it?
yes.
Are you speaking in terms of the Quran, of the Bible? Like what do you
The Bible. If God said something gonna
Oh, if
happen,
God said something in his word and it didn't come to pass, then the Bible's false.
that means God didn't say it. That's what it means. It means God
No.
didn't say that. That's why God said. God said, if I say something and it don't come to pass, that's how you know I didn't say that.
No, no, he's talking about that's false prophet. You're getting that mixed up. But anyways, let's get back to Romans
I mean,
11.
no, brother. That's what I'm. No, that's what he's saying. They said, how would you know the word of the Lord? They asking a question in
All right.
Deuteronomy. How would you know that God said something? He says, if
Oh, he's talking
someone
about a
said
prophet.
something,
He's
if
talking about a
someone
prophet.
said something and it don't come to pass, that's
It's
because
a
God didn't say that,
no,
right?
no, that's because that's a false prophet.
But here's what you're saying.
Brother, it's a problem. You can go look at it. Deuteronomy 18. Go look at it later. I don't want to argue about it
You
now.
keep missing
Listen,
my point,
let's get
bro.
back.
You keep
Brother,
missing my,
let's
you missing my. Then you are calling the Messiah a false prophet. Then
not at all. Not at all.
you said he said something that didn't happen.
No, what do you mean it didn't happen? It did.
Where did it happen? Show us where did it happen at? Where was the church
So
Peter at?
you're saying that when God can't say something or Jesus can't say something once and it be true? It has to
I'm
be
asking
said
you
twice.
where. Show us
No,
where
no,
the
no. But
church
oh
built
wait,
on
listen,
Peter.
listen, listen. But listen. Are you saying that the Bible has to say something twice for it to be true?
No, I'm not. I never said that.
Okay, so if that's not the case, and all that needs to be said is once, then it is true because Jesus said it. Okay,
It
case
never
in point.
happened though. My point is it never happened.
Okay, but if Jesus said it, is it true? If Jesus says something, is it true? Yes or no?
Bro, we going in circles, bro.
Yeah, but no, it's just real quick and clear. If Jesus says something once, is it true? Yes or no?
How how did you gauge something is actually said by someone, brother?
Said by someone, you want to get into textual criticism now and all those things?
According to the Bible, if God and Jesus prophesied something that happened and it does not happen, the text is saying that how that they never said it.
Okay, but you're giving me something that we're not faced with. I mean, that you're looking at like apocryphal writings, you're looking at Gnostic writings, you're looking at things like that. But
I'm
we're
looking at
speaking about
Deuteronomy. Not, I'm looking
we're
about Deuteronomy.
yeah, but we're speaking about what we have in front of us. That's not something that we're dealing with right in front of us. So if Jesus says something once, is it true? Yes or no?
Brother, if
The
it's
question's simple. I mean, it's either yes or no.
I
It's
know it
simple.
isn't an answer, you know, it isn't a yes or no because people say things like the
Okay.
Messiah never said. People say that Christ did away with the law, which
So
is a lie.
are you saying
He never said
everything
that.
everything we have
Listen. I'm
listen.
explaining to you what can I explain what I'm saying? People say that Christ said certain things which he never said. They say that Christ did away with the law. Christ never said that. So I'm explaining to you. It depends on what it is. If we're speaking of prophecy, because you're reading prophecy right here about the church being built. That's prophecy. I'm saying to you that never happened. So he couldn't have said that.
Okay, so who helped build the church?
The church was built on Jesus Christ by the apostles, by teaching Christ, by pushing Christ.
Who was the head of the apostles?
Christ.
No. Who was the head of out of the 12 apostles? Who was the head? Who was like the leader?
The head of the church was James.
No, not the, I don't you're not listening. Out of the 12 apostles, who was the leader?
There was no leader. There was no leader in the apostles.
There was no leader. There was no one that they would
He said
really.
that you are all brethren. He tells them
Yeah, I understand that, but who was like the leader among them?
there
There
was no
wasn't.
leader amongst the 12.
Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's go to Romans. Let's go back to Romans
You
11.
can't prove that there's no leader amongst the 12.
That's fine. This is the biggest sidetrack we've ever.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
This is a huge sidetrack. The whole topic was Romans 11. The fact that we came back here was because we had gone off so much on the last discussion. We're going about 30 minutes and not even speaking about Romans 11. So back to the topic. All right. Very simply, my proposition again is that these Gentiles are non-Israelites. We've looked at the first verse before Romans 1, or I'm sorry, Romans 10, 20, and 21. This is Isaiah 65. And he's speaking about a nation that's not Israel, grammatically. And as we get into this, in verse 7, it says, has what then hath Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So so brother, we agree that the elect out of Israel, and then everybody else was blinded, right? That's what rest means.
The rest that had an opportunity to believe and didn't, they were blinded.
Well, no, it's just the rest, like the remain, because the topic is Israel. So it just says the remaining, everybody else in Israel was blinded.
Okay, I'm giving you my understanding of. I said you cannot blind someone for no reason. That's unjust.
Where do you see that unjust? Can you show me that in the scripture?
Because you're saying that God
Yeah,
is.
just show me scripture.
Can I
Where,
finish?
where,
Oh my goodness, bro! I can never get my finish what I'm saying. It says right here, what then? Israel have not obtained what that which he seeketh for. It says, but the elect had obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Correct?
yeah.
Okay, so that means that the elect at some point believed, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if the elect believes, so that means then the nation had to have been exposed to the truth to believe, and then they didn't. The ones that didn't believe, they were blinded. Correct?
Well, all of them were exposed to the truth.
Oh, when was this?
When was this? I mean, the beginning of the nation of Israel, during the split. You could even argue in captivity as well because they knew what was going on. Um, but the blinding is different. Because it only tells us that the remaining rest is let me look at this. Rest is loipos. It just means the remaining, like everybody left outside of the elect. They were blinded in Israel. And Israel is talking about northern and southern, you would agree, right?
Oh yes, I agree. That's speaking of the entire nation. But what I'm saying is that,
Right.
right. What I'm saying here, when Paul is writing this, right? Paul, we know that the Messiah or Paul and them couldn't have went to the entire nation at this time because the majority of the nation was dispersed abroad all over the world.
No, brother, he's speaking about the nation of Israel.
So when Paul was alive and he's actually penning this letter right here, Romans, right?
Mhm.
You saying that the entire nation outside of the elect was blinded, correct?
Yeah, that's what Paul's saying. Yeah.
Okay, so now the Israelite that were dispersed abroad, who never knew about the Messiah even coming and even appearing. They didn't even know he appeared. They didn't
Hmm.
hear nothing about him. You said they were blinded too?
Yes.
All right, we can go on there. I disagree,
Yeah.
but we can go on. We can move on.
So, okay. So at one point in Romans 7, does he make a distinction to say this is only some of Israel?
When we read down, he clarified when you read down. When you get to verse 13.
That he clarifies it's only a portion of Israel?
So what he's doing here, he's actually at this point speaking to the diaspora, the dispersed abroad Israelites, is who we speaking of here in the book of Romans.
But okay.
He's not telling them what transpired in the land.
Okay. But you're saying that the word Israel here is about all of Israel, right? It's speaking about Israel, northern and southern, right?
I said that's why I clarified and I said except for the diaspora.
Okay. Where in the definition of the term Israel does it say not the diaspora? Because when you look at the diaspora, the way that they distinguish the two is that they would say, I think the term is Grecians, Helleniste, and the Southern Israelites who were in the land, they were called the Hebrews. So that was the two distinguishing factors. But when the term Israel was used, it's usually always speaking about all of Israel for the most part. I don't see where you see a separate distinction.
What you mean? I'm not following your question. What you mean except a distinction?
So you're saying this Israel here is not including the diaspora, but that's never how it's used. When you see a distinction between the diaspora and those who are not dispersed, you see Hebrew and diaspora. Though those are the two distinguishing terms that separate those who are dispersed and not dispersed. Hebrews, diaspora. You don't see Israel and diaspora used to designate that.
Yes, you do. The lost sheep of the house of Israel is speaking of the diaspora.
Yeah, that's a distinguishing factor, but they're still of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So they belong to Israel. So the term Israel encompasses everybody in Israel.
No, not all the time. Like,
Okay, so lost sheep of the house of Israel. What do you think the word of the house of Israel means?
the context is that when he's saying, he said, don't go to the Gentiles, but go unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So he's obviously speaking of the diaspora.
Right, but he still designates them as part of Israel when he says of the house of Israel. So think about this. Think about this. The term of the house of your fathers. What does that mean?
It belonged to your father's house.
Right. So these dispersed belong to Israel. It's part of the term, right?
Yeah, I mean, both of them. I mean, you can call the ones in Judea Israel and the one spread abroad Israel too as well.
That's the whole point, brother. That's the only point I'm making is that this term Israel here in verse 7, it's all of Israel, right? That's the only point I was making.
Okay, I'm still with my point again. I originally said to you that to blind someone, you have to first give an opportunity to believe
Yeah,
in the Messiah. The
brother,
diaspora
we're
was
only dealing with the text here. We're only dealing with what's written right here. If you bring up any other objections or anything like that, you have to just go straight to scripture. I understand you're going to give an explanation, but you don't give scripture, it's kind of just like it has no bearing to the conversation.
That's why I said. I thought I said if we read down, it's going to show you.
Okay, well, all right, we'll just keep reading down. Okay. Um, Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, bow down their back always. So in David's time, was he speaking about all of Israel, right? Like the non-elect, right?
Talking about those that's rebellious.
Yeah, yeah,
Rebellious.
but he's speaking right, right. But there's in David's time there was no split, right?
No, there was no split in Israel in David's time. No.
It's just interesting that if there is a split being spoken about later in the chapter, why would Paul reference David when he's speaking not about a split part of Israel? He's speaking about a certain distinct group. But we'll keep reading. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the, what is this, ethnos, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the
Wait, why
riches
why
of,
are you reading over, why are you reading over verse 11?
I'm just reading it
Okay, so when Israel fell, salvation came to the other nation, yes or no?
to the other nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other nations got salvation when Israel fell. You agree?
Um, in a sense, yes, it's more so through their common, their constant rebellion that God decided, hey, I'm gonna set you aside for a second. Former troubles are forgotten. Behold, I create new heavens and new earths. That's what that's talking about in Isaiah 65. In context, the heavens represent the ruling class, the earth represents the rule. The Jews were always the rulers of the earth when they obeyed God. But now God was like, hey, no, I'm going to call somebody else now. So that's basically what that's talking about.
Wait, so you wait, when the Jews obeyed God, they were the rulers of the entire earth?
Yeah, every time, look at every time in the scripture when the Jews obeyed God, what happened? What happened when they obeyed God?
When they obeyed God, they was blessed.
Right. When they obeyed God, like for instance with Gideon, how many did Gideon have in his army?
300?
And how many did he go up against? Do you remember?
I don't remember the number, no.
I think it was 10,000. But that was because Gideon obeyed God.
But they were
And
the
you,
rulers of the earth though.
yeah, but when you look at ruling, it's about being the most powerful. It's not about actually, being in every territory and trotting everything underfoot. It's more so just about your power, what you're able to do, right? Power, just the ability to actualize your will. So whenever the Israelites were obedient, whatever they wanted, they would basically get as long as it was within the confines of that which was righteous, right? So they would always win battles when they obeyed God. When they didn't obey God, they lost battles. Even God says that in Leviticus. If you obey me, you will go at your enemy one way and they will flee seven ways. But if the opposite is true, then you will go at your enemy one way and you will flee seven ways. So obedience to God is what made Israel a powerful nation. They were very small. They weren't contending with anybody until they were believing God, right? You would agree with that. They weren't really winning battles.
No, there was. I don't agree. They ruled the earth though. I don't agree that they didn't do that.
But when they obeyed God, did they win battles?
They did.
When they obeyed God, did they conquer nations?
Yes, they did.
All right. So they're a
They ruled the
disobedient.
earth. No,
All right. But when it's because of their disobedience that they didn't have a physical ruling of the earth, but they did rule the earth. As far as them being representatives of God, and whenever they obeyed, they would, things would go their way. Um, so as far as them being the representatives of God on earth, they did rule the earth. They were ruling the earth with the rod of iron, the scepter of their tongue, the word of God. and everybody else, in a sense, was wood, and their words were fire, just like it says in Jeremiah. But let's keep reading, unless you want to say something else about verse 11.
Now go ahead. I mean, well, the last thing I said, but the verse says that to provoke them to jealousy. So the only reason why these other nations even got some kind of salvation, meaning they got into power, was because was supposed to make his people jealous.
Yeah, but how would his okay? So when you look at jealousy, do you have a girlfriend or a wife?
I have a girl.
Okay, what would make you jealous if you saw her with another guy, right?
Right.
Right. So that's the whole point here is that Israel is the bride of God. The only way that God can make Israel jealous is to share his love or have another bride, but not in a sense a whole nother bride. It's more so in a sense of, hey, uh, these are my people too, but they're not you. And that's the whole point of jealousy. That's where jealousy actually comes into fruition, is love being shared to another that is not yourself. So in verse 12, we'll just keep reading. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? So we agree this term Gentiles is non-Israelites, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So verse 13, for I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I'm an apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. Are these Gentiles still non-Israelites?
No, these are Israelites.
Okay. What word linguistically changed?
Him being an apostle to the Gentiles because he was sent to disperse the broad Israelites.
Okay. All right. We're gonna pull this up. This is in. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you can see my screen. Uh, I mean, you have the word ethnos, which is the root word, but here you have ethnicene. But in verse 13, you have the same exact word. So what word changed that it's making you think that these are no longer non-Israelites? It's the same exact word from verse 11.
I'm not arguing the word. I'm saying when he says who he is sent to, we know according to the prophecy and according to the Old Testament, according to the New Testament, he was sent to disperse the broad Israelites.
Okay, but when it says right here, it's the same term Gentile, then Paul says he is an apostle of these same Gentiles, like same exact word. Why wouldn't he say I am an apostle of the diaspora or
Because
of the Helleniste? Because that's what actually shows that that's a dispersed Israelite.
no, I mean you have Israelites that are called Helen as well.
Hellene? No, they're called
And
Helleniste. Helleniste.
they
Hellene is
also
always a
call Helen.
Gentile or pagan.
They also call Helen as well too.
Helene is always it's always a Gentile or pagan.
Not true.
Um, yeah, it is. You want me to pull up sources?
Yeah, we can read the verse. You can see for yourself.
Okay, well,
Saint
that's
John
something.
Saint John 7:35 told you that, right? Saint John, pull up Saint John
Oh,
7:35.
okay. All right. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Okay. So what word?
The last word Gentile. That's the diaspora that he's speaking of here. The last
Okay.
word
All right.
here,
All right.
Gentile is Helen.
Okay. Let me read it. Okay. So this last part, wait, all right, there it is, verse 35. Okay. The last part here, me ais ton sporan. So this isn't diaspora, the dispersed.
Hmm?
Is this the dispersed right here?
Yes, the dispersed, right?
Okay. Dispersed in the Greek is diasporon, right?
Yes.
Okay. If that's correct, then you keep reading diasporon ton helenon. So ton is genitive case. It's showing that there's a distinction between the diaspora and the Gentiles because genitive basically means that the word itself owns something. So these Hellenized Greeks, or not Hellenized Greeks, yeah, these these Greeks own the diaspora because the diaspora live among the Greeks. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So then the same term for when it says among the Gentiles, the same term is used and teach the Gentiles, Hellenas. The only difference is now the word is in accusative case, meaning it's receiving the action of teach. It's literally receiving the action of teach. So these are the Gentiles that the dispersed live among. These are not the Gentiles aren't being, or the dispersed aren't being called Gentiles.
They are calling the Jews. The Jews are calling the dispersed brothers Gentile. Right there, the verse.
Okay, so when it says dispersed among the Gentiles, the dispersed live among the Gentiles, right? The non-Israelites, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then the same word is used with a different part in the sentence, and it says, "And teach the Gentiles whom the dispersed live among."
He teach the Gentiles is calling the diaspora right there Gentiles, Helen.
What? No, it's not. Brother, it literally says the dispersed live among the Hellene.
Okay, the verse begins to saying, "Where shall he go?" Okay, so where shall
Yes.
he go? Okay, so is he going to go to the dispersed among the Gentiles? We got that already, right? You have the dispersed who are among the Gentiles, correct?
Who are the Gentiles?
The Gentiles, the other nations who the diaspora is among the non-Israelites.
No, these are the Greeks in specific. These are the Hellene. These are the Hellene.
Brother, the Israelites isn't just scattered amongst one nation. They're scattered
Yeah,
amongst many
they're
nations.
speaking, but they're saying, where will he go that we shall not find him? So it's a specific locale. Will he go to the dispersed that live among the Greeks? Right?
Brother.
Because there's other dispersed. There's other groups of people out there.
Okay, so you saying that this verse is just targeting only Greeks.
Well, when it says dispersed among the Gentiles, the word Gentile is Hellene. So it's saying dispersed among the Greeks.
Okay, so then the next part says, and teach the who?
The Greeks, same
Okay,
word.
so they're saying you're going to the dispersed amongst the Greeks and teach the Greeks. The verse
Yes.
is saying that you're calling dispersed born Israelites Greeks.
No.
Wow,
Linguistically, no. That's brother. How? Okay,
crazy.
brother. Do you study Greek?
Brother, y'all do study Greek
Okay, linguistically, how is it calling the dispersed Greeks?
because
Linguistically, break
he's
down. I'll pull up. I'll make the
brother,
Greek bigger. Hold up. Make it bigger.
crazy, brother. It's the exact same word that's there. It's Helen that's there.
Yeah, yeah. When it says diasporon ton Hellenon, that's dispersed among the Greeks, right? And then it says didaskein tous Hellenas.
Okay, now you're saying that only Greeks are called Helen, yes or no?
Uh, for the most part, yeah. There might
Okay,
be, I think, maybe one time where, but I don't even think the Jews are even called Greeks, but probably among Josephus, maybe, because he called everybody Greeks.
I'm gonna pull a verse and show you that.
You said this was the verse.
No, you made a claim that only Greeks were called Helen.
Yeah, I said for the most part. It's not an absolute claim, so I said for the most part. So
Okay, then we back to I made a
yeah, but
claim.
not here. Not here though. Not here. It's impossible linguistically. It's impossible.
Wait a minute. If 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 Greeks are the only one that is called Helen, you can't say they're speaking about just Greeks here then.
Yeah, yeah. Linguistically, it is because I can prove it from the linguistics. Like if you're gonna say, okay, this is a verse that proves that the diaspora is called Hellene, you have to prove that linguistically. You know how you would prove that linguistically? Hello?
But you're making this ain't making
It,
no
it would say it would
sense.
say something. It would say something along the lines of "tain diasporon," and they would use the emi verb. It would use the emi verb and saying these dispersed are Hellene because are or is literally just an equal sign. It's saying this equals this, but you don't see any equivalency like that in the scripture.
No, you made a claim. You said that only Greeks are called Helen.
Yeah,
Okay, and I'm saying that's incorrect.
Not here though,
Okay, why not here?
because okay, it says me eis ten diasporon. This diasporon is the diaspora, right?
Yes, that's
Okay,
the diaspora.
okay. And how would you translate ton elenon?
Among two,
Two.
among.
It's definitely not two because genitive it just means from or among.
But your claim is that if we speaking of the diaspora, the diaspora are not dispersed just amongst Greeks. That would make no sense at all
Yeah,
linguistically.
but is it making a distinction that these dispersed are from the Greeks?
No,
Ton,
they're
Helet.
not from the Greeks. They're among the Greeks.
Yeah, but brother, you do realize that this case ending at the end, the omega in the new, it's genitive case. So that shows ownership. So it shows that the Greeks own the diaspora in some way, shape, or form, meaning they live among them or they are from them. If I say I am from my father's house, it means I belong to my father's house. These diaspora or dispersed belong to these Greeks. It's showing ownership. I mean, it's basic grammar. I'm not saying anything crazy complicated. This is just, this is Greek 101. This is what you learn the first few weeks.
You
So
so you saying that did you see that the dispersed Israelites belong to Greeks now?
they belong to these Greeks. They're saying, are you going to go to the dispersed who are from the Greeks, who live among the Greeks? They are from them, meaning, bro, where are you from?
How is the dispersed Israelites from the Greek nation now? That is crazy.
Okay, where are you
What
from?
translation is that?
I'll make this simple. I think the point's going over your head. Where are you from?
LA.
Okay, LA. That would be the same thing. Like you are, if I said you were dispersed from LA, this is what ton elenon is from these people. Instead of from a place, you're from a people.
Now that's
It's
what I'm trying to say to you. What you're saying, what you're saying now is crazy because you're saying that how that Israelites are no longer from Israel; they're from the Greek nation now.
if they're dispersed, how are they from Israel? If they're like literally not living in the land, they're not living amongst Israelites. They are called dispersed. Like
Dispersed, but they have not swapped nations.
it's not swapping nations.
That's
It's
what you're
talking about,
saying.
oh
You're saying
my
that they're
gosh,
from the Greeks,
brother. Okay, what's your nationality?
Israelite.
But you're from LA.
I'm a Israelite living in LA. Yes,
Brother, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. These dispersed are living among the freaking Gentiles, the Greeks.
brother.
It's so simple. It's
Brother,
so simple.
Helen isn't a location; it's a people.
Yes, they're living among these people.
But they're not from those people, though.
If they're living among them, they are from them. Just like as you just said, I'm from LA.
LA is a location. It's a landmass, not a people.
All
LA
right.
isn't a people, bro.
Hey, brother, I can bring you to the lake. I
That
can't
is
make you drink
crazy.
though. I can't make you drink. Linguistically, this is not saying that the dispersed are called Hellene. So let's get back to the
You trying
actual
to say LA
topic.
is a people?
Yeah, brother, I'm sorry. You don't understand Greek and you're trying to say
I don't
that
understand Greek. You don't
John.
understand. You don't understand Greek. Greek is not saying that they cannot be from the Greek nation.
Okay, okay, okay,
That's dumb
okay,
as ever. That's crazy.
okay.
That you even say
You
that,
understand Greek? You understand Greek? Pars Hellenos.
brother.
Okay, the quiet
We know.
the silence
Listen,
too loud. No, no.
there's nothing to parse
Hey,
because every
brother,
you ain't gonna
you
find no scholar that agree with you, bro. So you talking about
brother,
who don't agree with you?
what do you mean there's nothing to parse?
No, I said no scholar, anybody that teaches
No, no,
Greek
no, no.
agree
Wait,
with
wait, wait.
you.
What do you, brother? What do you mean there's nothing to parse?
There's nothing to parse because we know that the Israelites don't come from the Greek nation.
No, brother, I asked you to parse Hellenas. What do you mean there's nothing to parse? Do you actually,
Because we know where they come from. That's why there's nothing to
brother,
parse.
do you understand the question?
Wow.
Do you actually know Greek? I'm like actually being serious because like you said you know Greek and you said like oh I don't know what I'm talking about. So I just very simply asked, hey, can you parse Hellenas?
And
You
what did
said
I
there's nothing.
say?
You said there's nothing to parse.
There's nothing to parse because I
Do you know
already
what parsing is?
yes, brother.
What is parsing?
Parsing is you going through the language linguistically, the third person and all that other stuff, going through all of that work.
Okay, parse Helenos. Brother, the fact that you're so silent either means that one, you don't know the answer, or two, you're going to go look it up on Blue Letter. So I'm not going to wait for either of those.
That's I'd have to parse it by going
Yeah,
online.
but you said I don't know Greek. Brother, I'm reading it. I'm taking you through diasporon ton, elenon. I'm not even looking at the parsing for elenon, and you're saying I don't know Greek. So I think that's a contradictory statement when you're saying I don't know
It
Greek and you know
isn't
Greek.
because you telling me that it means from, and we know it doesn't mean from.
What is the genitive case then?
The case here that is among.
Okay, when you think of okay, how about this? When you hear kingdom of God, uh, who owns the kingdom?
God.
Okay, do you know that the word God is in the genitive case there?
Brother, what this is crazy, man.
Wait, hold up, because I want to stop you.
This
Because
is
wait,
crazy.
listen,
This
you're
is
about to,
crazy right here.
no, you're about to waffle like crazy because you just said it's
This is crazy.
crazy to say that they own them. And I said, well, it's just simple. It's in the genitive case. And I asked you, kingdom of God, who owns that kingdom? You said God. The word God there is theou, which is
Okay,
genitive case.
but we can go on, bro. This is
I know we can go on. I know.
They're making it.
All right.
And listen, hey, if you believe Israel belonged to the Greeks, you can believe if you want to. That's fine. That's crazy,
I mean, that's linguistics. I mean, how
brother.
have you studied? Let me ask. How have you
Crazy.
studied Greek? How have you studied Greek?
I study Greek in the context of the entire Bible. What you
Okay,
doing is this. Let me
I
finish.
do too, but
Can I
how do you
finish?
study? The
It's
question's
what you
how.
doing. It's what you doing. You see something in the text that it says an of. It's saying it is of. You don't say, you know what? It can't be that because the Israelites it don't come from the Greek nation. So it
Yeah,
can't, I know it's saying of, but it can't be of.
yeah.
It can't be that because we know, according to the entire text of the Bible, the Israelites don't come out of the Greek nation. So it can't mean that. You arguing that it can mean that, which is ridiculous.
Okay, this is the last point I'm gonna make on this. Um, so I got one of my brothers in the chat, and he also studies Greek as well, like scholastically, like from actual Greek sources and not just going on Blue Letter spottily looking at stuff. Um, and he says, yeah, WV or Omega Nu means either from or among, and you obviously don't know the Greek. That's what he said. But then check this out. So
I said it mean among. What he
when we
talking about?
see, what'd you say?
I said it mean among. That's what I said.
House oikos. Okay. So, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so when Jesus says, "I'm not set but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel," do the sheep belong to the house of Israel in some capacity?
Speaking of the sheep, the house the sheep belongs to.
Yeah. Do they belong to the house in some capacity?
They're from the house.
Yeah. Does the house of Israel, does the house own them? The house of Israel, does it own these sheep?
I wouldn't use it as own.
Well, how would you use it?
Belong to.
That belong to means owned, like the
No,
thing
that's different.
itself owns that.
Own that's different. Own is it's different understanding.
Okay, if you're from the house of your fathers, does your father own you?
So I belong to my father. God owned me. My father don't own me. God owns me.
Okay, do you know what ownership is basically means?
Yeah, ownership. Yeah, you
Yeah, it
that
means to exercise
belongs
some
to that
sort of
person.
authority, right?
To some degree, yes.
Right. So it doesn't have to be exercise the most absolute point of authority. It's just any point of authority, whether it be like a contract or hey, this is my son, this is my daughter, whatever. But the house of Israel is oiku Israel, which oiku and Israel are both in genitive case. This is my point exactly that genitive case shows ownership in some capacity. You're thinking of ownership as like just like owning slaves or owning a dog or something crazy. But the word own it has a general sense, and then it's distinguished among how it's used. So that's the only point there. That's the only point I was making there. Anyways, let's get back to Romans 11. We'll start in verse 13. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am an apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. So who's the them that Paul is speaking about?
Them that are his flesh.
Right, and who's that?
Those are the Gentiles in verse 13.
Well, okay, but in verse 13, he's addressing the Gentiles in second person. So anytime he speaks to them, he's using you guys. He's speaking directly to them. But in verse 14, them is third person. Would you agree?
How is it?
I can pull it up on Blue Letter. Let me do that. Let me do that. That'll be easier because I don't know if you know where to look on my logo software to see the parsing.
How is them third person?
It's the parsing. If you say use it in a sentence, use it in a sentence. Like just tell me a sentence with the word them in it.
I went to them.
Are you speaking to me and you're saying you went to me, or are you talking about somebody else?
I'm speaking to you about somebody.
Right, that's third person, brother.
Okay. So now if Paul is saying here in the 13th verse, for I speak to you Gentiles, correct?
Right.
It's clear, right?
Can you see my screen? Oh wait. Yeah, you should be able to see I
We're
got
going,
Blue Letter pulled
we're
up.
going, we're going. Yeah, okay.
You see it? Huh?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was trying to see if you can see my
Okay,
screen.
I'm trying to explain what I'm saying here.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. I was make sure you can see my screen. Go ahead.
in verse 13 it says, I speak to you Gentiles, right? So that's him speaking to them directly, correct?
Right, second person, right?
Like so Paul is first person, they second person, correct?
Right. Yeah. Let me show you that real quick. Just and I'll let you keep going.
Oh no,
When he says
we ain't gotta do that.
yeah,
We
but
gotta do that.
I'm
I
just showing
understand.
you. You said something. I just wanted to show you, and then you can keep going. I'm not going to cut you off. When he says I speak, this is in first person, so you know it's Paul himself speaking. And then when he says to you, who mean second person, right? So go ahead.
Wow, okay, hold on. Okay. Uh He says, in as much as I am an apostle to the Gentiles, it says, I magnify my office. All right. So his office is magnified because he was also sent to Israelites, right? And now he's
Hmm.
also sent to as I understand it, let me just say that as I understand it, to disperse the broad Israelites. So that's the magnifying of the office. His office is limited to just Israelites. It's been magnified to now to disperse the broad Israelites, right?
With the dispersed abroad, yeah. Just clarification. Would the dispersed abroad Israelites be part of Paul's flesh?
Yes, because they're from the same nation.
Okay. All right. Um. Okay, so in verse 14, when he says, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh and might save some of them. Who's the them? Is it
The them he's talking about is the dispersed abroad, the dispersed abroad Israelites.
okay? So is he speaking to the dispersed abroad or about the dispersed abroad?
He's speaking to them. That's what he says in verse 13. I
Okay,
speak to you Gentiles.
okay. So if he's speaking to the dispersed abroad, why would he be speaking about the dispersed abroad to the dispersed abroad?
What
If
you
I'm
mean?
speaking to you, but listen, what's your name? You go by James, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I said, hey, James, me and you should go to the gym and meet James, the gentle up there too, you look at me like, huh? No. We should go up to the gym and meet up together. That's a more grammatically structured sentence. So if Paul is speaking to, as you say, the dispersed, he wouldn't be speaking about the dispersed. He would just say about, and he would change the way he's speaking. He would say, if by any means I may provoke to emulation you Or yeah, you which are my flesh, and might save some of you. But that's not what he says, right?
What is he saying then?
Well, okay, so he's speaking in second person to these Gentiles, ethnos. Um, and he's speaking in the third person about someone else. Like we said earlier, the word them would be about somebody else outside of the direct audience. Um, so when he says, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, this is interesting. I looked this up. The term my flesh is singular and it denotes every single person who is part of Paul's flesh. But he doesn't say the second person addressees are his flesh. He says them which are my flesh, might save some of them. So then if we keep going, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? Now, this is interesting. If the casting away of them be the reconciling of the word world is cosmos. It is never in all the Bible, it is never used of actual Israelites just ethnically, just Israelites alone. It's used of a collection of people. And you can get more into this. I
The
can give you
use
some
of
sources.
Israelites too. The use of Israelites too in the text.
What'd you say?
The word world is also used to talk of Israelites.
Yeah, cosmos. Cosmos is not used to distinguish only Israel. It's used to distinguish every single not every single individual, but every single type or ethnicity of person, at least one person from every tongue, race, and tribe, but not every single individual. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we know who this is specific right here who we're speaking of though.
Yeah, but the word world is never spoken of and used towards just Israelites. The word cosmos. You
In
won't
this
find that.
verse, he's speaking in this verse, he's saying the casting away of them,
Right.
been
Who's them?
reconciling of
Who's
been the reconciling of the world.
Yeah, but you got to follow the whole context because he talks about the elect obtaining that which they sought for, and the remaining, everybody else in Israel were blinded. So that's that has to be the casting away. Otherwise, Paul is having three or four disconnected thoughts, and this letter won't make sense to anybody who's reading it. So it has to connect that those who were cast away are those who were blinded. Does that logically follow?
Again, those that didn't believe, yes.
Okay. So, and those that didn't believe, they were the rest of Israel because there's a portion of Israel that were elect, and it says the rest, the remaining, like literally just means everybody else, just linguistically, everybody else was blinded. So these are the ones that are cast away. But he designates these that were cast away as them. So everybody else in Israel that was cast away, and we said Israel was all of Israel, north and south. So he's saying them, third person. That excludes the second person addressees as being part of those who were cast away.
But we know who was cast away. Israel, right?
Yeah, the rest of Israel that were blinded. Everybody else in Israel that wasn't elect.
Wait, you saying part of Israel was cast away or the whole nation was cast away?
No, everybody outside of the elect was cast away in Israel.
Everybody outside of everybody outside of Israel, outside of the elect was cast away.
The elect of Israel, correct.
Okay, so when Jesus Christ said he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that's speaking of everybody except the elect.
Say that one more time.
When Jesus Christ said he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that's
I think you're
that's
missing the point. I think you're missing the point when you ask
I'm
that
not missing it.
question.
I'm making a point
What's
of
my point? What's my point? What are you refuting?
you're saying that them is everybody outside the elect
And why did I come to that conclusion?
because you're saying that the elect have obtained it and the rest was blinded.
Yeah, and so the claim is literally on the word rest, loipas, remaining everybody else.
So
So
I'm
it
asking a
says,
question. So, but based on what you're the claim you're making, I'm asking a question. I'm saying when Jesus Christ walked the earth and he talked about the lost sheep of the house of Israel, are you saying
mhm,
that that's the Israelites outside the elect? Is all I'm asking you.
no. Why would you come to that conclusion?
Because if Christ is saying that they're all lost, then that would include the elect.
That would include the elect?
If they're all lost, that would include the elect.
How would that include the elect?
because the elect is part of Israel.
Okay, I don't see how you're like it doesn't seem like your question has anything pertaining to the term loipos and the claim that I actually made. And it seems like it's going to take us on another waffling moment where we don't stay on topic. So I don't understand how, or do you disagree the fact that loipos means the rest of remaining?
I'm pointing out to you that what you're missing to understand is that for them to be blinded, I'm saying to you, they got to first get an opportunity to receive the truth.
It's not what the scripture says in here. Where do you see? Just pull up the scripture that says that.
This is why I'm asking. This is why what I'm asking you is going over your head.
No, just go to the scripture that you're talking about. Like you have to be given the truth to be blinded. Just go to that. It doesn't have
Okay.
to say it in exact words. I'm not about exact word fallacy, but show me something.
When we read earlier up in Romans chapter 11, right? I mean, actually, Romans chapter 10, right?
Romans chapter 10, what verse?
It says, verse 19. It says,
Okay.
but I say, did not Israel know? That means they were given the information, right or wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, first Moses saith, I will provoke them to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation would I anger them. That's because they was given the information for them to follow, and they reject the information. They turn away from it. So because they turned from the information, God said, now what I'm gonna do, because you turned away from the truth, from the information, I'm gonna provoke you to jealousy with them that are no people. Because it said the verse said, did Israel not know? Israel knew.
Hey, brother, what does the word but mean? Is it like do you understand it that it like changes what's being said and it's whatever's about to be said is in contrast to what was previously said, right?
I'm not. What you saying? What you getting the? I don't understand the but. What you saying?
If you're reading Romans 10:19, I just kind of saw something interesting. It has a but before every verse in the last three verses. It says, but I say, did not Israel know? And in the next verse, it says, but Isaiah is very bold and says, I was found of them that sought me not. So was Isaiah speaking to Israel?
Of course.
Okay, but why in the next verse does Paul say, but to Israel he says? If he was already speaking to Israel, why would it say but to Israel, he says?
It's still
It
talking
would
to Israel.
no, but brother, there would be no point to put a but to Israel if he's already speaking to Israel. That would be like me saying, I was speaking to my daughter, but then I spoke to my daughter. Like it makes no sense. It's not grammatically correct. So
Okay.
it would actually entail that in verse 20, Isaiah is not speaking to Israel. And then in the next verse, when he talks about something else in that same chapter, he is speaking to Israel.
Wait. So you saying Isaiah was sent to other nations other than Israel?
No, no, no. It's not about who he was sent to. It's about who he was actually speaking to in regards to what he was saying.
Wait a minute. You how can you speak to someone if you never meet them?
Because Paul wrote letters. Isaiah wrote his words down.
Did
Isaiah had a lot of prophecy that was not for the people of his time.
did he write them to non-Israelites?
Tonight, right here, this is what Paul claims.
Wow.
So what is a but? What is a
Crazy.
but?
That is
You,
crazy.
you agree a but is a conjunction, right?
A but can mean only.
What?
A but can mean only.
That's correct. But in
Okay,
the
so
English,
only
no,
to
no, wait,
Israel.
listen. In the English, in the Greek, that's not so. So let me explain to you. So when we look at but,
You're arguing an English word, bro.
yeah, I know. Okay, the word day. How do you translate the word day?
I have to look it up, bro.
Okay, it has a wide semantic range, but
I
most of the
mean, that's what
time,
I'm saying, bro.
yeah. But most of the time, it is always translated as but. It is also translated as and, but that depends on the clauses themselves. So if the clauses have if their ideas are intertwined and along the same lines, then it's usually and, because and will join two thoughts, but will separate two thoughts. And this word but, you can check every single translation. And yeah, it's also moreover because again, it's a continuance.
Okay, but so y'all, you making my argument.
No, I'm not. My argument is that this but, it disjoins what's previously said in some way, shape, or fashion. It doesn't say it's totally and totally opposed to the previous statement, but it has some difference, right? It has to. Otherwise, the word but, you would have to make a linguistic argument why the word but shouldn't be there.
But the next two words says to Israel.
In verse 21, but what does it say in verse 20?
But Isaiah.
But Isaiah is very bold and say it. So would that then logically follow that, because this is in the same chapter, verse 20 and 21, or yeah, verse 20 and 21 is in the same chapter, Isaiah 65, same chapter. Would that then logically would that then logically follow if he has to say but to Israel, but is disjoining a thought, that it would mean that in verse 20 he's not speaking to Israel? You're gonna say no, but linguistically that's incorrect.
No, that's correct because what is said to Israel. So I don't know what that doesn't make any sense.
Verse 20, it's not said to Israel. That's why Paul has to say but to Israel, he says. You don't
So
have to say, what's the point of saying but to Israel if he's already speaking to Israel? Tell me that.
what's the point? You mean what's the point? That's English.
What, no, what's the point? Okay. If you're saying, like, say like you're speaking to your son, you're telling me, yeah, I was talking to my son about some things he needs to do at school, but then I was speaking to my son. Would that make sense?
This is how English is understood in 1611.
In 1611, do you have any source on that in Elizabethan dictionary?
No, because we're reading it. That's why
Wait,
we
you got
know.
it. No, no,
We're reading it.
brother, you made a claim. Can you pull up what scholar says this
I
is
don't.
based on Elizabethan
I
English?
just said to you, we are. Are we not reading a translation from 1611?
Yeah, can you show me that? Okay, you do understand that you can go and look at a 1611 King James dictionary and see the English, how it's laid out.
Okay,
So go ahead and show me that. Show me what scholar is telling you that, hey, this is how they talked.
if we are reading the translation, this is
And
crazy.
this is this
We're
is this
reading the
is this is a
translation. You telling me that's not how they talk, but we rest we
this
read.
is this is the 20th century translation of the King James version. This is not 1611.
So you saying in 1611 the word "but" isn't there?
The word but, I'm not saying it's not, but it doesn't matter because it's still from the Greek.
Okay, so if they're translating "but" there, what are they saying, brother?
They're disjoining a thought in some way, shape, or form. They're disjoining two clauses. This clause from this clause.
Okay, but you're saying that if they're separating the clause, is the clause still going to the same people?
It's saying right here in verse 20 and 21, it's obviously not, because he has to tell you, but to Israel, he says, because that entails that before he's not speaking to Israel. Like if I said, yeah, I was speaking to my daughter about what she should do at school, but then I spoke to my son. But it's showing you that now I'm no longer speaking to my daughter, I'm speaking to my son. That's
Nothing,
what that
nothing here says he's speaking to someone different.
brother,
What,
I think
what,
you need.
what word what word in here tells you he's speaking to a different nation?
In verse 21, and when he introduces and says, but to Israel, that entails that the verse before is not spoken to Israel.
Okay, so if we read the verse before, right? If we read the verse before verse 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
What verse 21 tells us is speaking of a different nation.
No. It tells you, but I say, did not Israel know? Right? So he's speaking about Israel in verse 19. Let's go ahead and just read it. Let's read it. First, Moses saith, I will provoke you, Israel, to jealousy by them that are no people. So is Moses speaking about two different types of people?
Yeah, he's speaking to people about being provoked by a different people. Yes.
Yeah, and then the different people or the foolish nation is non-Israelites, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we have two groups of people being mentioned in verse 19. In verse 20, but Isaiah is very bold and saith, I was found of them that sought me not, I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. So would it then logically follow, since he says Moses talked about God provoking us to jealousy by a foolish nation, that in verse 20, he's speaking about that foolish nation. And then in verse 21, he goes back to speak about Israel and says, this is how God is going to provoke his people to jealousy.
Wait, so
Does that logically follow?
that's, yeah, that's logical. That's logical. I ain't gonna argue logically
Okay.
that's logical. But what I'm saying to you is that we know that Isaiah was only sent to Israelites.
Yeah. So, but what's the logic in Paul quoting Moses speaking about a people, a foolish nation that will bring Israel to jealousy? And then he quotes something Isaiah says. And then in verse 21, he quotes what Isaiah says to Israel, but then he qualifies this is to Israel. So that necessarily follows that the verse before was not to Israel.
Who would the verse be?
I'm not trying to make this too hard. I'm just,
You're making it. I mean, you're making. It's not hard for me, but I'm saying you're making a claim that you can't prove.
brother, I'm proving it linguistically. What do you mean? It's you keep saying I'm not proving it. I think
You're
it's just
not
you're not.
listening.
But brother,
What verse says he was? What verse anywhere in Isaiah said he was speaking to a different nation?
Isaiah 65:1, unto a nation not called by my name. We already went over this.
That's what I'm trying to say. We go in a circle because we went over that already, bro. So why are you bringing the same thing up again? We went over that already.
Yeah, I don't think you can disagree that once something happens in the past, it can't be erased. So like if Israel
Well,
was called there,
we going in
if
circles,
is
bro. Remember, you the one
brother, let
bringing
me
up past stuff.
okay. But yeah, but real simple though, so we don't have to go back and forth too much. If I call you on your cell phone and then 3 days later you block me, does that erase the fact that I called you?
No,
Exactly. So that's the whole point. This nation was never at any point in the past called by God's name. So this is who he's talking about. This is a totally separate nation from Israel. But that's why he says, but to Israel, he says. And you know who he's saying he says? He's speaking about Isaiah, but this is God speaking.
make no.
All
We
right,
can,
let's move. Let's go
yeah,
back. Let's go back to Romans.
you know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm
Let's go back.
saying?
Yeah.
It'll make no sense, bro.
Yeah. Brother, I encourage you to learn Greek because when they teach you Greek, I'm not trying to say anything about you because I had a hard time with it as well when I first learned.
Brother,
You gotta read,
it
listen,
isn't
just
that. It
listen,
isn't that.
listen,
You
I know, but
missing
just
common
listen.
sense, bro. You missing
Brother, just I know,
basic
but just
common sense is
listen.
eluding you.
But brother, just listen. Because one thing I learned when you learn Greek, they teach you English and you realize how much of the English grammar you don't know. And that's all we've been dealing with so far is basic English grammar. And you're saying like, oh, I don't understand, I don't get this. And I mean, you're saying you know Greek, and I'm like, okay, what
Well,
does
I'm
this
not
mean?
saying that. I'm saying you making claims you can't prove.
Oh, I did prove it. That's what
You
I'm saying.
didn't
I don't
prove
think
it.
you
I
understand
ain't gonna prove it
grammar.
in the same verse you in. You have to go somewhere
I don't
else.
think you understand grammar enough to actually get the point that I was making. So let's go back. Let's go back to Romans 11, verse 17. He says, uh, and if some of the branches be broken off, who are the branches that are broken off?
Right, what verse you in?
Verse 17 of Romans 11.
Oh, those are the one that was in Judea.
The broken off branches?
Yeah.
You're not.
The non-believers that didn't believe in the Messiah when he came in Judea, they were broken off.
Where does Paul make the qualification? He only speaks about blinded Israelites, Israelites that were casted away, and then he says the branches that be broken off.
Those were the same people.
Okay, so if they're the same people. Those that were blinded are literally all the other Israelites that are not elect. Paul doesn't give a third group. The people that never heard the gospel or anything like that, that are somewhat in the middle. No, they're either elect or blinded. That's the whole point of Paul making two groups.
That that's why I went back and I told you. I said we here arguing. I said that how you gonna blind someone without giving a chance to even believe the truth? You said prove it. I went back. I went back to Romans chapter 10 and I said, did not Israel know? I said they knew. It was given the
Yeah,
information.
but that doesn't prove your point that because they knew they were able to be blinded.
No, that's the reason why, because they rejected it.
Okay, we're okay. Do you understand the actual understanding of blindness and being able to see the truth?
The blindness is blinded to the truth, is it not?
Yes. So if
Okay,
you
so
can't, okay, look, wait, listen, listen. If you can see the truth, then you're not blinded, right?
yes,
Okay. If you're blinded, you can't see the truth, right?
yes.
Okay. What's the third category that you keep talking about?
The third category is those that are not being exposed to the truth.
Okay. So that means they can't see the truth, right?
How they cannot see something they've never been exposed to.
Right. So they can't see the truth, right?
One more time. If I was not exposed to it, how this is crazy.
It doesn't matter if you're not exposed to it or not. Still,
You're 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 telling me to see a car that I've never been in front of a car, never nowhere.
okay, so you can't see a car, so you're blinded, right? Brother, if you can't see something, whether it's in front of you or not, it just doesn't negate the fact that you can't see it, right?
No, because if it brings it in front of me, then I could see it. And it's not in front of me to even see it.
But brother, okay, I don't think you're getting the point. Paul only gives two distinctions, those who can see and those who can't, right?
You
So
asked
if
me my
someone,
third
if so,
distinction. Wait a minute. You asked me my third distinction. I gave it to you.
yeah, but I'm saying like, okay, if you haven't been given the truth where you can see, that means you cannot see, right?
No, that does not mean that.
So you can see.
It's possible. It's
Brother,
possible. Yes or no. We don't know you until you are exposed to it.
okay, and Paul is saying that evidently there are two groups, whether they have seen the truth at this point in time or not, there is still two groups, right? When you look at the overall, if you were able to get a panoramic view of all the people in Israel, would you be able to see if God was like, hey, these are my elect and these are the non-elect? Would you be able to see like, hey, these are those that can see and those that can't see, inevitably, right?
No, I wouldn't know that. I can make
If
that
God showed it to
determination.
you, if
If he
God
showed it to
showed
me,
it to
yeah.
you.
If he did, yeah.
Okay, so inevitably, at some point, there's going to be a large group or whatever, a group of people that cannot see and a group of people that can see, right?
Yes.
That's what Paul is saying. He's not saying that I know who the elect are. Are these people in Israel 100% are elect, and these people are 100% blinded. He's just saying there are people that at some point in their life they will see the truth or they will not see the truth. These are the two groups, blinded and elect. Do you agree?
There's a third group as well, though.
So there's people that will, okay, okay. You're saying there's people that will be in between seeing and not seeing the truth. So what's in between seeing and not seeing the truth?
There are people who have not been exposed to the truth. I keep telling you. I keep
Okay,
over and over
okay,
again.
okay. In this hypothetical, will they be exposed to the truth at some point? Yes or no? It
Yes.
has to be yes or no. It can't be maybe. At some point, you have to
Yes.
make the distinction. They will be.
Yes.
Okay, will they accept it? This is your hypothetical.
I
Don't give
don't
me
know if they
maybes.
will
No, no,
because
no, no. This
that's an
is your
original thing.
hypothetical. This is your
This
hypothetical.
isn't a
Don't give me a maybe.
hypothetical. This isn't a hypothetical.
Okay, but at some point in a person's life, they either will accept the truth or they will not, correct?
Yeah.
So if that person who hasn't been exposed to the truth yet accepts the truth, are they elect? Yes or no?
How can you accept if you've never been exposed to it? That don't make no sense.
Brother, listen, if they are exposed to because everybody at some point is going to be exposed to the truth, right?
I wouldn't say everybody.
Okay, is there a law within ourselves that kind of, even if we aren't exposed to the truth, we have an internal law that God has given every single man, right?
No.
You don't believe what Paul says when he says that every single person has some shed of the law of God in them and have become a law unto themselves and will be judged by that.
No. I don't think the verse. I understand the verse not saying that.
Okay,
Because
but you
if that's
understand.
the
Oh,
case,
that's fine if you have
why
a
you need
different
a law?
understanding.
I mean, I'm
Huh?
saying, why? Okay, if I have the law with me already, why do
No,
God
no,
got?
no, no.
What are you saying then?
Not the law, not the law of God. You have you have the basic moralities. Don't kill, don't steal, don't sleep with another man's wife, but you don't have the full details of the law. You just know those basics, right?
No, I don't. I listen. No, I don't know that. You mean you don't know those basics?
Every like literally more than not, every civilization, it's always been wrong to steal, to take another man's wife, and to kill. Those are the three basics.
Okay, but again, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue that. So we can never gonna argue that. That's not even then the point to even argue. You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
but we know that it's all about God's laws, though, right or wrong.
Yeah, no, agreed, agreed. But
Okay,
you're saying there's people. So, okay,
I'm saying
in
everybody
your
doesn't have God law naturally with them. Is what I am saying.
in your distinction of things, that there are elect and there are blinded, and there's a third group that will never be exposed to the truth. How
I didn't
will
say
those
never.
people?
I didn't say never exposed to the truth.
Okay, so we'll okay. So and okay. So is there a group in that group that will never be exposed to the truth?
Within which group you talking about?
The third group that you made up. The third group.
No, the third group. That's what Paul and the apostle are doing, bringing the truth to the third group.
Okay, the third group. Okay, so now okay, they have the truth. Will they be either elect or blinded? Will they fall under those categories?
Yes.
Okay. Is there another group that, because it seems like you said there was another group that they will never see the truth, what happens with them, and that's what we were talking about. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's people even in our time that their elders don't allow religion in their community, in their village. They don't know anything about any kind of God, Bible, nothing, because their elders refuse to have any form of religion within
That's
the
fine. That's fine. How will
community.
they be judged? How will they be judged?
I don't know how they're gonna be judged. That's I don't know that.
Well, the Bible says that they're a law within themselves. This is, let me just pull it up real quick. Romans 2:14. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, in their thoughts, the mean, the their thoughts, the mean, while accusing or else excusing one another, in the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. So, how is God going to judge these people?
Wait, the verse said the law is written in their hearts.
Right,
That's
right.
the
But
law.
these are brother, these are the Gentiles which have not the law, but do by nature the things contained in the law. And having not the law, they are a law unto themselves. So they have parts of God's law, but not all of it. And since they do that, that's the law that's unto themselves. That's what's written in their hearts.
But that's God's law written in their hearts.
Yes,
Okay, so
because I
wait a
said
minute,
these are the
hold it,
basics.
brother. Who wrote the law upon them?
God.
Oh, so I made a point to you to
Okay,
say
but listen, in verse 14, wait, because this is your point. They don't have the law. They don't have the truth, right?
that's my point. You the verse that they
Okay.
got the law.
All right, listen. No. It doesn't. It does not. Listen, verse 14. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law. Do these Gentiles have the law? Yes or no?
That's a physical copy.
Brother. Oh my goodness. What is law? What is namas? What is that?
Torah,
Torah. Okay. They don't have the Torah,
a physical
but
copy.
okay. So they don't have the truth or the Torah revealed to them. That's what that means. Physical copy,
So it's
revelation,
revealed to them
right?
because it's written on them. It says
Yeah, but the only reason it's written on them is because they by nature do the things contained in it.
that's because it's written on them. That's why they're doing the
Is the
natural.
whole law written on them? Yes or no?
It says the law. I won't. It says the law. I don't know if
These
it's
are
the whole and
Gentiles.
everything.
These are Gentiles. These are non-Israelites.
But those
So
are
it can't be.
Israelites. No, those are Israelites.
Brother, we have been looking at the same word, Gentiles, from this to Romans 11. You said in Romans 11 and 11 and verse 12 that these are non-Israelites. And then in verse 13, when I read, you said, oh, these are Israelites. Brother, we have been looking at the same word. Not one distinction has been made in the linguistics.
It had, but the distinction
What's
is
the
my
distinction?
flesh.
All right.
My flesh. The distinction was my flesh in verse 14.
All right. Okay. Let's go back there. Let's go back there. I don't think you remember the point I made in verse 14. Uh, so he says, them which are my flesh. Is that second person or third person?
Brother, are they
No,
Israelites?
no, just answer my question. Answer my question. Is them third person or second person?
Third person.
Third person. Perfect. All right. In verse 13, when he says, for I speak to you Gentiles, is
Wait, wait,
you
wait. You
second?
not answer
But
my
listen,
question.
listen,
Wait a
brother,
minute.
brother,
No,
brother,
that doesn't.
brother, wait. When he says, I speak to you Gentiles, is you second person or third person?
Second person.
All right, perfect. That's my
Okay.
point.
My question to you, when he said them that are my flesh, are they Israelites or not?
Yeah, because it's them. It's another group. He's not speaking to his direct audience and saying that, you're my flesh.
Okay,
Saying
so
them,
you asked for what changed, and I said, what changes there? He's speaking about his own people.
right? Which are not his audience.
That
You
is his
correct.
audience.
If it was his audience, why wouldn't he use a first person plural? Our flesh.
Because what he says right here in verse 13,
Okay.
he magnifies his office. So the the,
Is
the
that
the magnification brings in the third person aspect.
huh?
One more time, the magnification, I magnify my office. That brings in the third person distinction, is what he's saying.
Okay, what scholar told you that the word magnify means to bring in the third person distinction?
Because if
No,
I'm
no, no. What scholar? No, don't say because. What scholar told you
I don't know
this?
no I don't know about no scholar.
Okay,
I don't
so if you
know
don't
about
know
no
about no
scholar.
scholar and you said you don't know Greek, how are you making a claim from the Greek which you don't know
I'm not making a
without
claim from the Greek.
scholarship?
I'm making a claim from the English, the word
Okay,
magnify.
the English comes from what though? The English comes from
Mag-
what?
there we go with this nonsense right here, man.
You know what? Wait. You know what the word magnify is, right?
Brother, listen, you listen,
Wait. Just wait. Hold up,
listen,
brother.
you
You
keep
you're going
listen, let
off,
me say
brother.
something, brother. You keep arguing, you keep arguing scholars' translation of the text. You're arguing the word but. They put but there, it shouldn't be but, because but can mean this. You're arguing what
No, I
scholars
didn't say it.
translation
I
mean.
didn't say
You're
that.
arguing but.
I didn't say
Now,
that. I
now,
didn't
now
say
you're
that.
arguing magnify.
No. I'm asking you. Do you know what doxazo? You know what that word is?
Brother, here we go again, man.
Okay, let me just break
Brother,
it down.
we're not
I have it.
reading,
Wait. I
we're
have it,
not
bro.
reading in
Brother,
Greek. We're
calm
reading
down.
in English.
I have a little bit of an audience, and we understand that the English is from the Greek. So any straight up authoritative claim we make can't be made from the English. It can be made from the Greek. So
No, that's
the
incorrect.
word mag,
That's
the
that's
word mag,
incorrect.
hold
That's
up,
wrong.
hold up. Hey,
Because scholars scholars
brother, hold
put
it
that
down,
word there.
hold up. I'm trying to make a point real quick for my audience, and then we can just keep going. All right. So anybody listening, the word magnify in the Greek is actually doxazo, and we get our word glory from that, doxa. So this is about him glorifying, but not glorifying his office in the sense of worshiping it. Magnify is kind of it's not a good translation. It should be a different translation. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. I'll probably make a separate video for that for you guys. All right, go ahead. What are you saying?
Okay, so now you're saying that the scholar is mistranslating the text now, your argument now.
I don't agree
You're
with all
saying
this. I
it's
don't agree
supposed
with
to
all the
be
translators.
magnified. Okay, so why even bring it up then?
No, I said I don't agree with all the translators.
Okay, okay, so now what do you don't agree with? Let's start there because we can't go nowhere unless we all agree that it's been translated correctly. Otherwise we
Yeah, I don't
can't
agree
go
with your
nowhere.
premise. I don't agree with your premise that magnify means that he's invoking the third person.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So what word is supposed to be there?
Wait, that's what you said, right? That the magnify means to invoke the third person.
I said that's what brought in the third person aspect.
Okay, and why are you saying that? How did it bring it in? Is there other evidence from
Because yes, because
anything?
because he was sent to Israelites, right? And he was also sent to Gentiles, correct?
Brother, you're not making a historical claim, you're making a linguistic claim. So make your claim, state your case.
I'm not making a linguistic claim.
You just said magnify. He means he's invoking the third person. That is, do you know what
I
linguistic?
said one more time, brother. One more time. Let's go real
Okay.
slow. I'm
All
gonna
right.
go
Yeah.
real
Go ahead.
slow.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Do you know what the English word magnify means? Let's start there.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, but go ahead. Just go ahead. Make your point. Make your point. I want to hear what you're saying. I want to
I
hear what you're saying.
I made the point. You see, you don't know what the word means, so I have to start there because you do.
But brother,
I made my claim, but you don't
merely,
understand my claim. So I got to go to
mere,
definition in English if you understand what I'm saying.
but making the assertion is not the same as proving the assertion. So you haven't proved anything. You've only made an
I have
assertion.
proved it, but so that's why I'm starting from scratch. Let's start from scratch.
Okay.
Do
Do
you
you know
know
what?
what the word magnify means?
Yes. In the
What
root,
does
it's
it mean?
glorify. And the root word is glorify and magnify.
So
It's to glorify.
the English word magnify means to glorify.
Yeah. In the root word is glorify. It comes from the root of glorification or glorify.
Here we go again.
You asked me a question. Do you have anything? Do you have any type of evidence that you?
You are going
Oh
back
wait,
to
hold
a
up.
Greek
Hold up.
word.
Wait. Yeah, yeah, because the Bible's written in the New Testament written in Greek.
Okay,
Um,
but did I bring up a Greek word or an English word?
an English word, but how are you making a case about the linguistics of this if you're not even going to go to the actual language?
Because the scholar that translated it, he understand that this word here is supposed to be magnified. That's what he's saying.
So you agree with you
I'm
agree with
going to
every
I'm going
translated word. You
I'm
agree with
going to the King James translators who said this word here means magnify. I'm going
okay.
with them. You're not going
So
with them, but I am.
okay. So let me ask you a question. You agree with the translators in every translation of the King James of the King James.
No, I do not.
Oh, oh,
That's why I said I agree with them here.
okay, so you have reasons why you don't agree with them in certain places, right? So
Yes.
does that then logically follow that their translation is not infallible?
I never said that it wasn't.
Okay, so if it's not infallible, that means if you're going to argue for a translation,
Uh-huh.
you have to go to the actual text. You can't argue from the translation of the validity of the translation. That's an
Okay, brother.
oxymoron.
That's why I said let's start here. Let's find out what you disagree with the translation, then we can move from that point. That's what I said to you.
Yeah, no.
Let's do that first.
Okay. Here's what I disagree with. You said magnify means he's now speaking in the third person, but that it doesn't specify anything about anything that's going on here in the text. It doesn't specify anything.
It does specify because there is a third element brought in. First, there was a second element brought in, and then
What
a
is the
third
second
element that's
element?
brought in.
What are you talking about? Second element and third element?
It says, I speak to you, Gentiles. Gentiles, second person, right?
That's not a second element. That's the number. That's the person he's speaking to.
Okay, here we
It's not
go.
an element. What are you talking? I'm talking, brother. If he wants to bring in another element, or okay, if I was speaking to you about a group of people and we shared something in common, I would use the first person plural pronoun, our, we, correct?
Now you want to argue. Now you want to
No,
argue semantics now, bro.
I'm not arguing
Now
semantics.
we
I'm
arguing
arguing.
semantics. You know when I said element, I'm talking about person. Now you want to argue the word element now.
No, I'm not arguing the word element. I'm saying if I was speaking to you about somebody else and we shared something in common, whatever it is, wouldn't I use the word our or we to describe that we share this? Like if I said, yeah, I was talking to you yesterday about how we both play basketball. When I use we, right?
Yeah, but what is your
But if I said I spoke to you yesterday about how they played basketball, that distinguishes it, right?
but we
You
going
see
in
how?
circles here, bro.
No, no.
You
I
know what
think you
I'm saying?
see the dis.
This is becoming unproductive, bro. Because you always want to argue something and take us off track. Every time you argue something I say, you take us off track. You want to go back to what we spoke about Isaiah 65. You went back there again. For whatever reason, we keep going back there again, something we don't spoke about already again. Now you're here again, speaking of something you
Okay,
spoke about all night,
yeah,
all night long,
because
saying something over and over again.
Because you say I magnify my office, magnify means he's invoking the third person or something to that effect. And that still doesn't make any sense linguistically from any scholar. You're not a Greek scholar. So I don't know where this is coming from.
You ain't a
Because
Greek
I'm
scholar
saying,
neither.
because look, I'm
You
saying
ain't a Greek scholar
if
neither.
by if by any means I
You
study
ain't a
Greek
Greek
way
scholar
more than
neither.
you. Brother, I study Greek way more than you, and
Okay,
I
then
have
wait a minute.
scholarship.
Wait a minute. So
Hold up.
then why did the actual Greek scholar put magnify there then?
Put magnify there because it comes from
Yeah,
glory. Glorify. It comes from glorify.
they didn't put glorify, they put magnify there.
Yeah, the word magnify comes from glorify.
So the word magnify means glorify?
No, you know what
No, it
when
don't.
it's
Okay, if it comes from it,
no no
it's
no wait wait wait
the
wait wait
same
wait wait wait
thing.
wait whoa, hold on you're gonna let me answer. Do you know what it means when a word comes from another word?
Here we go with this nonsense, man. This is what I'm
It
talking
has to do with that's etymology, where
about.
it derives its
I
meaning
asked,
from.
I didn't ask what it, I said. I asked meaning, not where it come from. I asked meaning.
Meaning, you want to look at Elizabethan English?
I
I'll bring
asked
up a
meaning.
King James 1611 dictionary.
You wrote in semantic actual definition. You going back to where it
Yeah,
comes from.
I'll go to a
I asked
King
where it come
James
from. Actually, what does it mean?
1611 dictionary. I'll go to a King James 1611 dictionary. All right. All right. The word magnify isn't in here, but it has magnificence, magnificence, magnificently, and it all has to do with some type of glory. Grand in appearance, splendid, pompous, and that's all glory.
Okay,
Um,
so Paul is glorifying his office. Is that what he's doing?
there's different senses of glorification.
So he's glorifying his office. Is that what you're saying?
Not in the sense as he's glorifying God, but yeah, in a sense he's glorifying his office.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Do you understand that? Do you know what semantic range is?
Right there. That's what I'm trying to see. That's why I am saying. That's what I'm saying. You miss basic common sense. We speaking of an office, a position that someone have, a,
Right.
and I'm saying with that position, if you magnify, you make it wider. That means if you make it
No,
wider, you're
that's not
bringing
what it
in.
means.
I can explain what I'm saying, but you keep cutting me off, bro.
All right, go for it.
If I have a office, a position, and I say I'm magnifying my office, my position, I mean I'm making it wider, bigger. Why? So I can include
Hmm.
other people in it, right? I'm making it bigger. You make something bigger for a reason to let more in. That's what you're doing. So his position, his office, he's making it bigger to let more in, right? And that's what I'm saying to you. That's why you have the third person comes in because he's had made the office that he has wider, bigger. Still now there's a third element or a third person that comes in it. That's the them.
Yeah, but no, the when you say wider, you say okay, he's making it wider. Now he's bringing in the third person aspect into it. Um, that makes zero sense linguistically. That there's no word that brings in a second and a third person element. Like, brother, no, they're separate for a reason because you're either speaking to somebody about somebody else, or you're speaking of a collective group of yourself and all of somebody else, or you're speaking to a big group. There's there's ways to distinguish it, and you're saying, oh, no, Paul's speaking in the third person to the second person about the third person. It makes no sense.
You said
It's
that.
literally
No, you're saying all that, not me. You saying
okay. So you're not saying that Paul spoke to his audience about themselves. That's what you're saying?
I said
That's exactly what.
he's speaking to his audience about people he termed as his flesh, and he's trying to save some of them.
Okay, so are his audience, which is the second person, are they part of them?
Yes, he's part of them. They're part of
Okay.
them.
Okay, so if I said to you, "Hey, did you see the game? Yeah, all of them were up there at the game and I wish I was there." If I said them instead of you guys, wouldn't that disclude you? If I said you guys were all at the game, that means you and a bunch of other people. But if I said all of them, that means I'm excluding you. This is, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, this is just basic language. And you're trying to say that Paul used the word to mean that he can speak to his second person audience in the third person. There's no word for that. There's actually no word for that in any
Them.
language.
The word them is the word them.
Them?
Them. That's the word. Them.
Yeah. So what linguistically in them means that he's speaking to the third person?
So them is in third person.
No. Oh, wait, it is in third person.
What are you saying, then, bro?
He's speaking about somebody else to his audience.
That's what I keep. See,
Yeah, yeah. So okay,
going
okay,
in
okay, okay. All
circles.
right, perfect. All
Now
right,
we going in
perfect, perfect.
circles here
All right,
again,
all right.
bro. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
backtrack. All right, perfect. Look, don't backtrack. He's speaking to his audience about somebody else. Perfect. When he says to emulate, I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh and might save some of them. He's not speaking to his audience. Perfect. His audience is not his flesh. Let's move on. In verse 17, if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Now check out what he says next. You will say, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. So he's speaking to his audience and he's saying like, he's just like his audience is aware that they're not the branches broken off, right?
No, the other branches are broken out. That's a different group.
Okay. All right. So if the branch is broken off were the blinded Israelites, and there's only two groups in Israel, Paul gives elect and blinded. Everybody else outside of that group is not Israel.
That's
So
not
when we,
true. The
okay,
diaspora.
what? Yeah, that's the blinded.
No, they're not the blinded.
Well, Paul doesn't give a third group unless you can show in Romans 11 where Paul gives a third group and he calls them Israelites and he says they're part of Israel, yet they're distinguished from being blinded or having the truth. You're gonna have to show that.
And that's what I've been doing all night by showing you that you don't blind someone unless you first expose them to the truth.
Okay, where's that at?
If it, that's why I read Romans chapter 10, verse 7, verse 19.
And again, they didn't say that. So let me ask, when
It
the
does say
Gentiles,
that.
okay, when the Gentiles in the time of the kingdom of Israel, when the Gentiles didn't have the truth, were they blinded?
Of course, they had the truth. So they wasn't exposed to it, so they don't have the truth.
Okay, and we can agree that the truth is spoken of as light, right?
Yes,
So when you see the light comes into your eyes, right? You're not blind, right?
yes.
When you don't see, the light does not come into your eyes, right?
But you don't see
Oh,
like
is that
it
true?
never been shined your way.
But look, is that true,
No, because it ain't been shined your way.
brother? If the light is not going into your eyes, you cannot see. Is that correct?
It depends it
No, no,
depends
no.
if it's shining in your way.
Okay, so a blind person that literally cannot see has the light shining in their way all the time. Every single person that is blind has light shining in their face all the time.
Not blind, blinded is what we're talking about here. Blinded is what I'm arguing. You're arguing something completely different now. We said I said you don't blind someone, meaning you blinded them for a reason.
Who's arguing semantics now? Okay.
You are arguing blind, and I'm arguing blinded. That's what you're
No,
doing.
no, I'm arguing that if someone can't see the truth, which is light, they are blind.
Okay,
Whether they have been
I
offered the
originally
truth or not doesn't matter.
I'm saying to you talking about there isn't a third group. I said that there is because you don't blind someone for no reason. So I'm speaking of blinded. The text talking about the rest was blinded. Not that the rest was blind, they were blinded. I'm arguing something happened to them for a reason. You're saying no, which doesn't make no sense at all whatsoever. You gonna blind someone for no reason?
Okay, so yeah, okay, check this out. So in Ephesians 4, would you think that Paul, when he wrote to the church at Ephesus, he was writing to scattered Israelites?
Ephesians chapter 4, of course, yes.
Okay. So who is this speaking of in verse 18? Having the we're in verse 17. This I say therefore and testify in the Lord that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk in the vanity of their mind. Are these Gentiles, are these Israelites or non-Israelites?
These are non-Israelites.
How are they non-Israelites if it's the vanity in their mind? They're calling them Gentiles because of their mind. Isn't this what you say? You're Gentiles by custom, not by flesh?
Who says no? You Gentiles by nation. other
Yeah,
nations.
but you're a Gentile by custom, not by your flesh. You're
No,
not
no, you
fleshly a Gentile. You're fleshly an Israelite.
no, no. What? Who told you that?
So you can be flesh. So you can be an Israelite who's in the flesh, a non-Israelite,
No, you are an Israelite in the flesh. Your own
right?
people, your own people might call you a Gentile
So
because
in
of
what
how
way are
you're
you a
living,
Gentile then? And by how you're living, by your custom, right?
or how you, yeah, yeah, but you are an Israelite though. You're not a Gentile.
Okay. All right. Having the understanding darkened. So these are Gentiles, right? Having whether you say it doesn't matter. I hold these are non-Israelites. Having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them because of the blindness of their heart. Now these are Gentiles who don't have the truth. How has their understanding been darkened and alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them?
You said these are Gentiles that don't have the truth, and I said I
Yeah,
believe.
Gentiles. Okay, where do you see Gentiles have the truth? Where in here do you see Gentiles have the truth? If they're blinded, that means they don't have the truth. So, who being
Okay,
past feeling have given themselves over to lasciviousness to work all cleanness with
we
greediness.
need to get the entire context here because you're just reading a couple of verses. We need to get the
Okay.
entire context. That's what we need to find out what's going on here. You're
Okay.
like cherry picking verses. You don't try to get the complete context so we can understand what's going on here.
Okay. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness,
What verses
whereby
you
they
reading
lie
from?
in wait. Of verse, this is Ephesians 4 and 14. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive, but speaking the truth in love may grow up with him in all things, which is the head, even Christ, for whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. And then he says, this is I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk. So, other Gentiles, what you know what the word other signifies?
Well, in my Bible, it says, I think the word other here look like it's added in italics. If that's correct, I don't know. Let me check and see. It's saying it's in italics.
It's not in italics.
I could be wrong. It could be wrong. This Bible I have is saying it was added, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, the way you can actually see that is very easily go to Blue Letter and see if there's a Hebrew or a Greek equivalent of the English. If there is, it's not added. If there isn't, that means 100% it's added. Um, so here the word other is loipos, and it means the remaining Gentiles. So it would actually entail that he's speaking to Gentiles. So if these are not his
Okay.
audience, if his audience is not actual Gentiles, how would he be using this term?
No, I came in originally and I said that he's speaking to Israelites. So this term would be don't walk as other Israelites walk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this again, this is the loipos, the rest of Israel, right? So this is everybody else, dispersed and not. Everyone who knows the truth and who doesn't, right?
Yeah, those are the ones dispersed abroad. That's what I'm saying. I've been saying.
Right. So, but this would include everybody who has been given the truth and who hasn't, right?
No. Once again, these are the people that have not been given the truth. That's why he's exposing the truth to them in his writings. And
But
these are the ones in Galatia.
all right,
Let me finish. But
you're missing my question. You're not even listen. The question is right here when he says, not as other Gentiles walk. The word other just means the rest of the remaining. And I was asking, you said these are Israelites. Are these this has to be linguistics. This has to be every single other Israelite.
he's specifically speaking of these other Israelites, these remnant, the remaining of how they're walking.
Yes,
Don't
the
walk like
rest of Israel.
don't
The
walk like
rest of
how the
Israel.
remainder is walking. Okay, yeah.
Right, right. The remainder of Israel, whether they have the truth or not, this is how they're walking, right?
I was well, yeah. Okay, that's fine, fine. Because
Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right. So let's keep reading.
all night long with this nonsense, man.
In the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened. That's it right there. They haven't been revealed the truth, but their understanding's darkened. let's get back to Ephesians or to Romans 11. Because man, I mean, it takes so much just to go through this.
This is crazy. What is it? Okay, how can Paul tell these Israelites don't walk like other Israelites if he has never met them other Israelites?
Because he knows how the remainder of Israel is walking, not in
How would
truth.
he know? How would he know that without even meeting them?
Without even meeting them,
Yeah.
because he reads the word of God, he can see that God has blinded a large portion of Israel. And that
So
is
God,
prophecy.
so now God blinded him for no reason. Then
You can say no reason, but
you're saying that though.
no, I'm not saying no reason.
What are you saying then?
For a reason, for his own will,
What's
for
the
his according
reason?
to his purpose,
What's the reason?
according to his own purpose.
His purpose is to blind someone for no reason.
No, 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 that's not his purpose. He's blinding them according to his purpose.
What's the purpose?
Yeah, you're gonna have to ask God. He has certain things that
Okay, I got you. I got you. I'm cool. Yeah, you don't,
yeah.
you don't know the purpose, so you making stuff up.
So you're telling me I have to know every single thing about how God's mind works and
So
about how
you
his will is and what the
you
end of
you make
everything is?
you if you're going to make an argument, you have to know the why.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things in the scripture that you don't know the why.
What
Do you know
if
why?
I
Wait,
said,
wait.
listen, if
Okay.
if you are making an argument, you have to know the why. I'm saying
No, no, I don't. If it's leading back to God, I don't. I just make the
why
argument
and why you argue something that you don't know the why
because it's
about.
something that's true. It's something that's true
How you know it's true?
because God said it.
Okay, now
You don't
hold
believe
it,
that what
hold
God
it,
said is true?
hold it, hold it. Where did God said he blind them for no reason?
Where did wait? Okay, when you say no reason, you're putting a contingency upon it. Like it would be upon you to show that there has to be a reason for a blinding.
I
And you haven't
did.
shown that. No, 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 no,
I
no, no,
have.
no. Wait, wait, wait. You went to Romans 10 and 19. That does not show that, hey, there has to be a reason. It just shows that there was a reason. But what about the rest of Israel?
That's backwards.
Okay, all right. Let me okay. I got one more place and then we just have to move forward and finish this up because this is crazy. Okay. In Romans 9 and 22, uh what if it really doesn't say that in the Greek, but I'll just read it. What if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured which with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction?
Oh, man, let me get there. You said you in Romans 9:22 is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. What if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured which with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? So what's the purpose of God making someone to be a vessel of wrath?
This he's giving a hypothetical here. He said, "What
No,
if?"
it's not.
Hypothetical.
The word "what" is not there. It actually just says God willing to show His
Okay.
wrath.
So, well, mine says it's there. So, I mean,
You see the word "what"? Is it in italics in your Bible?
is if there?
If,
Yeah.
let's look at it. If is a. It doesn't always mean if. It's more so you have different conditional statements. So you have if this was to happen, then this would happen. So if God wanted to make His power known, this is how He would do it, right?
It's hypothetical.
Yeah, but did he make his power known?
Of course, he made his power known.
Yeah. And but more specifically his wrath. His wrath is known.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you're reading a hypothetical here.
No, 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 it's not a hypothetical. It's not a hypothetical.
It isn't?
Is the word what in your Bible? Is that in italics?
No, it's the word if
No,
there.
no, no. Is the word what in your Bible in italics?
I mean, it looked like it is. It looked like it is. It
Okay.
looked
That
like
means
it.
that it's that
I
means
have
that
to
it's
look. I have to look. I have to look into the manuscript and see if it's actually there or not, so I can be sure. I'm saying it looked like it is here.
what
Sometimes
manuscript? What are you talking about? What do you say look at the manuscript? What do you look at?
I go online. Let me hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull it up. I don't want to misquote the site. So
Is it blue letter?
no, isn't blue that.
Oh, it's probably Bible Hub.
No,
All right. What else?
it's the. Let me pull it up and get the right. It's godrules.net, and they have it in the. They have the Greek. When you go into it, they have all the letters next to the Greek words and stuff that's there.
Okay.
God,
Um,
godrules.net. And
okay.
um, so This one of the sites that I use. So you're in Romans chapter 9, and let me see,
Yeah.
in verse 22. All right. No, the word they said the what is not there, but the if
Word
is
what?
the word the
The
word
word.
the word what is not there, but the word if is.
I would say that word if is questionable just because when you have an if then statement, there's another word that shows the then, but there's no I forget what it is. I was just looking at this the other day. Um uh it's I in I think it's ion. I'll look back through my notes, but this isn't like a regular like if statement because you have certain types of conditional statements. You have conditional statements that are going to happen, have happened, will happen, or may not happen. So just labeling it an if statement or a conditional statement doesn't say much.
Okay, but but the word can mean if, yes or no.
Yeah, but that's a question about what type of if. So you're saying, can it mean if like, yeah, I already granted that, but I'm saying like there's different types of if. There's a if a hypothetical that probably will never happen, might happen, definitely will happen, or could happen. Let me start at let me start at verse 18 in here. Um, so he says, therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will hardeneth. So does that mean that God, whoever he wants to have mercy on, he'll have mercy on, and whoever he wants to harden, he'll harden?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the hardening?
Is if to make you go make you go and do his will.
Isn't it the blindness though?
I mean, you could call it that.
Yeah, every time it's used of Israel, they're hardened hearts. Pharaoh, I will harden his heart. All those things. It has to do with a blindness. Has to. And then verse 19, you will say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? This is a question. Like nobody's resisted God's will. So why is he finding fault if this is the case? And then verse 20, oh wait, oh, you want me to start at verse 14?
Wait a minute,
Oh, this is my dude in the chat. Wait, hold up. This is my dude in the chat. Okay. Yeah, I'll start in verse 14. That's easier. All right, we'll read this real quick. I'll get your explanation real quick, and then we'll just kindly go back to Romans 11, get a quick little summary. I want to go over like one or two more verses, and we can finish up there. All right, verse 14 in Romans 9. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that sheweth mercy. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, uh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will, and whom he will he hardeneth. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? Last two verses. Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Is that true in verse 21? Does God have the power to make one vessel of honor and one unto dishonor?
Yes.
Okay, so if that's true, then that entails that there is no blind, there's no distinct, there's no third group. There's just blind and those who are in the light.
That's a
Because
lie.
that would be the vessel of dishonor is it, so vessel of honor, is that somebody who has the light, has the truth?
It's just a vessel of honor.
It's somebody who has the truth, right?
Not necessarily.
What is the vessel? Okay, what is the vessel of honor? What did they have?
Well, Cyrus was a vessel of honor. The Most High called him his anointed. He was an honor, but he didn't have the truth.
How was he called a vessel unto honor?
I said he was a vessel of honor because God called him his anointed, right?
Okay, is that an assertion you're making and not something the text says? It's something you're just saying?
The text says that in Isaiah 45 that my Cyrus my anointed. That's an honor.
That's not honor. That's not a
That isn't
vessel of honor. Do you understand what
that
the
isn't an
vessel of
honor to
honor?
be called as anointed,
No, no, no. But in the context of this, you understand what a vessel of honor is?
brother. You asked a
All right, I'm
question.
gonna keep. All right, I'm
You
gonna
asked a
keep. I'm gonna just
question
keep
about
reading.
the truth.
Okay, I'm gonna just keep reading. I'm gonna see.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you again. Just keep reading two more verses. Then he says, God willing to show his wrath, to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. So these are all past tense. This is something that actually happened, not something that's in, what if. You can look into the translation of that word. I think it's epsilon iota. That's how it's spelled. You can look into the translation of that because that has a wide semantic range. But when you look at the vessel of honor, they're the vessels of mercy, right?
The vessels of mercy.
Yeah, the vessels of honor, vessels of mercy, same thing, right?
Again, all is contingent on you on you choosing him. You know, believing in him.
That's not, brother. Where are you getting this from? Like, I'm reading something else entirely, and you're saying, so, okay,
Wow,
when God, okay, all right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask
it's
you a
hard to
question.
understand.
Okay. So when he says, "Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor, another unto dishonor?" You're saying a vessel of dishonor can become a vessel of honor, even though God doesn't will it that way?
Yeah, because we know that Rahab was a vessel of dishonor. She was a harlot. She's
No,
a vessel
it
of
doesn't say she was a
dishonor.
vessel. You're
That's a
you're
vessel of
labeling
dis.
her. No, no, no. She wasn't a vessel of dishonor.
Yes, she was. She was a
False. No, no,
harlot.
that's false. That's false. That's false. That's
She
false.
wasn't a harlot.
That's false. David was a murderer.
She
Paul was a
wasn't.
murderer.
I didn't bring them. I brought up someone outside of
Peter
Israel.
was a liar. Peter
I'm asking.
denied Christ.
You go. This is what I'm trying to say. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're
I
saying
asked
she
you a
was a
simple
harlot. Like
question.
that's the worst
Was
sin.
Rahab a vessel of honor?
Yes.
A harlot?
Yes. David was an adulteress.
Wow.
He was an adulterer.
Wow.
So, okay,
Okay,
is being
hold
a
it, hold
harlot
it.
wait, hold on,
So are
wait,
you
wait.
saying
Is
David is
being
a vessel of dishonor?
is being a harlot, is that punishable by death?
Yes.
Is being adulterer, is that punishable by death?
According to the law, yes, it should be. Yes.
Okay, is one worse than the other
Yes.
per what scripture?
Per the Messiah.
What scripture? Messiah what? What are you talking
St.
about?
John.
Messiah.
Okay, my bad. Let me get it. Saint John when he told Pilate, he says, "He that turned me over, you will have the greater sin." He speaks of greater sin there in that context in Saint John. So there is greater sin according to the Messiah himself. He used the term "have the greater sin." So someone
Right.
that's let me finish. Someone that's a harlot that's selling her body, and someone that's murdering someone. There's a difference in the magnitude there because if you murder someone, you cannot correct that. That's done. Once you kill them, you can't repair that. But if you're selling your body, you can stop selling your body and then go the right way. You can change that, but if I murder you, I can undo that.
So what's worse?
The murder is worse because
So,
I can't
brother,
do that.
David was a murderer.
So what do you? So are you calling David a vessel of dishonor?
I'm not.
What are you saying then? Are you confusing me?
I'm saying, you're saying, oh, Rahab was a vessel of dishonor because she was a harlot. I'm saying no, because when you look at other vessels of honor, like David, he was a murderer, he was an adulterer.
David didn't start off a murderer.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you start off. What
It does
matters is
matter how
your
you. It does matter. That's why I brought up Rahab. She is. She,
okay, okay, let me ask you
can I
this. Let me
finish,
ask you this.
bro? Can I finish,
No, no,
bro?
that makes no sense. If I start off as
If
a
I finish,
believer,
it makes sense. If I finish, it makes sense.
it still won't make sense, but go ahead.
Wow. Oh, now you psychic. Now you psychic. You know it won't make sense because you
Because
psychic. You
yeah,
want to say what I said. You know it's gonna make sense already. Because now you psychic.
I'm not psychic.
It's so
You just haven't been
crazy.
making sense the whole night. So,
I haven't. You haven't made no sense the whole night. If you
brother, I'm
make
sorry, but
sense
you
to
don't know
me, you
Greek,
know
so
what you're saying. It make
that's
no
why I
sense.
haven't been making sense. You don't know Greek, and I don't think you know English grammar too well
Well, I
because you've
don't
been
think
making points that aren't even in the language itself.
you're arguing the translation, bro. Is what you're
No, no,
arguing.
I'm not arguing the
You
translation. I'm
arguing the
arguing
translation.
no, no, no. I'm arguing the original text. What the original text says.
Okay, so again, are you not arguing the translation? Yes or no?
I'm arguing the ambiguity of the translated words.
So
I'm
that
not
you
arguing.
are arguing the translation, like I've been
No, no,
saying.
no, no, no,
That's
no, no, no,
not
no,
from
no, no,
you.
no, no,
No,
no,
you're
no.
not.
Wait. Listen.
Okay.
Because when we first read Romans 9:22, you says that word if there. I said, yeah, it's there. You said, okay, it's conditional. I said, wait, there's multiple conditional statements. That's ambiguity. When there is multiple meanings to something, that's ambiguity. That's what I mean. I'm not arguing against the translation technically. I'm arguing against the ambiguity of the translation. Because you say magnify means to scope in and broaden, but the word is doxazo, which means to glorify, to extol, to celebrate. And that's exactly what Paul's saying. He's saying, I celebrate my office as I'm an apostle of the Gentiles. I love being an apostle to you guys. That's exactly what he's saying. He's celebrating it. When you celebrate getting a promotion at work, you're magnifying what you got. That's another way of saying it, but we don't say it like that. So that's why it's a little different. That's the only thing. I'm trying to just get preciseness in how we talk. That's it.
Wow.
So,
Simple.
okay.
Crazy.
So when we look at, huh?
You still arguing the translation again.
See, this is why I say I don't think you're actually listening, because I said do you know what ambiguity is?
You are bringing up an alternative to what is there in the text.
No,
Yeah.
no. Do you know what
Yes,
ambiguity is?
Here we go with this stuff right here, bro.
Do you know what ambiguity is?
No, I don't know what it is. What is it, brother?
Ambiguity is when you have multiple different ways to interpret something. So what I was saying, like when you brought up, hey, the if, that's conditional. Like, yeah, but there's 5 or 6 different types of conditionals. So to understand which one it is, you have to dig deeper, right? So the same thing with other words. You're only looking at the English translation. I'm willing to stick with you there, but you're not willing to understand that, okay, this comes from this. This is probably what it meant. And you're like, no, it doesn't mean that. Like you just don't agree with the translation.
I never said that.
I don't agree with
your.
your.
Know something I didn't say, bro. I didn't say.
I don't agree with your the way you interpret the translation. That's what I don't agree with. I agree. I agree for the most part.
You said the word. You said the word doesn't mean magnify. You said the word means something different. Is what you said.
No. I said the word doesn't mean to broaden. You said magnify means to broaden, and then you
actually
said
the word
look. This is what
magnify.
you said. Wait, I can play it back.
That's why
we
recorded it.
No. I know.
It's recorded. I ain't worried about it.
No. I'm 100% making a clip out of it. You said magnify means to broaden and to bring in the third element or the third person. And no scholar, no scholar with I can't wait to make a clip.
Making stuff up again.
No scholar with any sense would ever say anything like that. Anything. You made that point. So I said, no, I disagree.
You don't know every scholar. How you know you know every scholar?
You want to bring me a scholar that says so?
I'm saying, do you know every scholar?
I haven't seen one scholar that says anything like that.
You were making a point like you know every scholar.
Okay, the scholarship I've seen, nobody has said that.
Okay, well,
wait. Perfect.
Then. You don't know every scholar.
Okay, great. Has any scholar ever said the point that you made?
I don't know.
Perfect. So we don't know of any scholar, me and you combined, we don't know of any scholar that has made that point yet. You have made that point. That's my whole point.
Okay, so what you saying then? Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. You're making a linguistic claim and you don't know the language. So how can you make a claim?
You don't know the language. Listen,
brother, I've been learning the language.
A position. Listen. So why would you glorify your position to?
No. Another way of translating doxazo is to celebrate or to extol. We're actually told in the pastoral. Listen. Listen. We're told in the pastoral epistles to extol one another, doxazo. We're literally told to do this to one another, and it just means to celebrate one another. Because you have glorification on a large scale only applied to God, then you have it on a minute scale applied to us, where we can celebrate each other, where we're not worshiping each other. It's it's simple. If you study the language,
we're not talking about each other. We're talking about his office. He says, "I magnify my office."
He celebrates his office.
Can I finish, bro? I let you talk. All the time. Say make no sense just now. We're arguing the office. You're talking about individual. It says, "I magnify my office." You're saying he glorified his office. What you saying?
No.
Now you saying no, doesn't mean that. No, that could be wrong. Now you're changing it again. Now it's different now.
No, I said it before. You can rewind the tape. I said it means to celebrate. He's celebrating his office.
Okay. Did you say it means to glorify?
Yeah, in some sense, yeah.
Okay, so now
in that sense, look, but listen. In some sense, yes, and that sense is to celebrate.
Well, brother, which one is it, bro?
It's both.
Wow.
You have you see this is how I know 100% that you don't study Greek, you don't study any languages because you have no clue what semantic range is and how words can have different meanings applied to different settings.
No, no,
Like,
that means you
brother,
can
you're
pick and choose.
clueless.
You can pick and
I,
choose
I really,
that fits your doctrine
brother, I hope
anytime
you
you
don't
want to.
teach.
That's what
I
that
hope
means
you
right
don't.
there.
I
You
know you
don't
told
know
me
what
the
it
other.
means definitively, but you're gonna say it can mean this and that too as well. So you can adjust you can adjust to your doctrine then.
No, no, I'm not adjusting
You
anything.
are adjusting your doctrine.
Okay,
How
okay,
can it
the
mean
word
two? How can it mean two things right there?
because there's a general category and then there's a specific subcategory. You get that?
Okay, so now so Paul is saying that he glorified his office at the same time he celebrated his office all at the same time, correct?
Yeah, because
What he saying?
the type of glorification is the celebration. It's not the godly glorification, how we glorify God. It's not in the same sense, clearly.
Okay, so why is he celebrating his office, brother?
Why is he celebrating? Does he say in Romans 11? I'm not gonna put words in Paul's mouth if that's what you're wanting me to do. So let's
Brother,
go to it.
listen, I keep saying,
So he
why
says,
are
for
you
I
making a
speak.
why are you making an
Okay.
argument if you don't know the why?
Yeah, but you're asking me a why. I'm saying, okay, let's see if Paul tells us why. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I'm an apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify, I celebrate, I glorify my office. So I think he's saying he's glorifying his own office because he is an apostle of the Gentiles. That's the why. He's celebrating his office that he's filled with so much joy that he's able to be an apostle to these Gentiles. That's why.
So the why, wait, the why is
He,
because he's an apostle.
of the Gentiles.
So he's glorifying his position because of his position.
No, well, he's glorifying his office because of his position. The
It's the
office
same
that
thing.
he no no the office that he sits in. He is an apostle that sits in this office. He is not sitting in this office, and that's what makes him an apostle. Because he would be an apostle if he was sent to other places, but this is a specific position that he's in.
He
So
was sent to
he's celebrating this position that he's in because of the fact that he's an apostle to these Gentiles. That's why. It's like saying, I celebrate my presidency that I am your president. That's the same thing. So I mean, look, dude, you get hold up on basic things, and it's really
like
it's
you.
not. No, no, I get based up. I get hold up on basic things that are important.
What do you mean? You're arguing some office right now. Is that crazy or what?
Yeah, because you asked me a question about it. Did you not?
You're arguing it though.
Did you ask me a question about it?
No, I didn't ask you a question about it.
All right, we'll rewind the tape again because that's another lie you just told.
Okay.
So because the whole reason why we came here to magnify was because you said, oh, it means to broaden and bring in the third person. Because verse 14,
I didn't say mean that. Now you lying. I didn't say mean that.
okay, it
So what
doesn't
does
matter.
that
You
mean?
said part of this word means that it broadens and it brings in the third person. But you haven't seen any scholarship and you don't study Greek, so we're not sure where the evidence for that comes from. And it all stems from the fact that we look at verse 14, them which are my flesh and might save some of them, Paul speaking to Gentiles about somebody else. And you're saying, oh, wait, no, magnify means he can speak to them in the third person, even though they're the second person. Makes zero sense linguistically. So let's keep moving. In verse 19, thou will say then the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. What is unbelief?
Wait. We all night I've been arguing and I say that it was broken off because of unbelief. They didn't believe. You all night
What's
you've been
unbelief?
saying no. Let me finish because all night long you've been saying that I was wrong. And the verse right here cuts you. I've been saying all night you don't blind them or cut them off for no reason. You said no. No, that's
What
what
is
we keep saying. We read
what's
it in the verse
unbelief?
right here. That's exactly the reason why they were broken off.
What's unbelief?
Because of unbelief.
What's unbelief?
Not believing, not putting trust
Okay,
in.
so unbelief is the absence of belief, right?
Oh, yeah, we go.
I'm just clarifying question.
Wait a minute.
I'll make
Wait a minute. Are you asking my definition to insert your definition? Is that what you're doing?
no, I'm asking your definition because I'm going to insert. I'm not going to insert anything. I'm going to tell you what the definition is. I'm staring at the Greek right here. I understand exactly. I don't even need to look at a dictionary definition to understand why this is defined this way.
Okay, so wait,
It's
am I
basic.
wrong? Wait, am I wrong? You got to bring in another definition in.
Well, to be more specific, because you might not be wrong with your definition, but you weren't as specific as I was hoping. Okay, so the general word for belief is pistuo, or pistis is the word faith. When you place the alpha privative in front of a word, it negates a word. So it means no belief or no faith. My question is, if somebody who's never been given the truth or a chance to see the truth, do they have faith or do they have belief? Yes or no?
They have that. Yeah, they have that.
They have faith.
Yeah.
How do they have faith if they haven't seen the
Well,
truth?
they have faith in what they believe in.
Yeah, no, but not when we talk about faith, we're talking about faith in God at every context of the scripture,
But
faith in
you
God.
wasn't specific. You just said, do they have faith? And I said they do what they believe in. Now you're being specific. I
Bro,
see how you being vague earlier.
I didn't think we were reading the Odyssey. I thought we were reading the Bible. I didn't think I had to say do they have faith
You
in
made
God. Like,
you made a
come
general
on,
statement about faith. Did you not?
brother. Are we not reading the Bible? I didn't think I had to say that. Okay, do they have belief in God? Yes or no?
But listen, just a minute ago, you said that my definition wasn't specific enough. What you said, right?
Okay, all right. Do they have
So
belief
now,
in God?
now I flip it on
That's
you
fine.
again.
That's fine. You
Now
can have
you're
that point.
arguing it now.
You can have that point. That's
I know
fine. You
you
can have
can. I
that
know
point.
I can.
I
I'm
will give that
following
to you.
you.
That's brother, that's fine. You need some
Okay.
points. But so do they have belief in God? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So if they don't have belief in God, then this has to be about and these were those that were broken off, right? Everybody that was broken off, it was because of they did not have faith in God, right?
Right. They didn't believe in what God said for them to do.
Right. But even if they didn't hear about what God said, they still would not have belief in God. It
That's not true.
logically follow.
That's not
Okay, if okay, all right. So if they never heard about God and you say that it's not necessarily true that they are unbelievers, what are they? Are they believers?
they believe in whatever information they
No,
have.
no, believe in God. In God. I'm specific now.
No, not the God of the Israelites. No.
Okay. So this is the context of what an unbeliever is. They were broken off because of unbelief in God, right? So whether they have been given the truth or not, unbelief is unbelief in God. You agree, right?
So if you don't have the knowledge of God, of course, no, you don't believe in God. So yeah, unbelief would be unbelief if you don't have the information of God. No.
Right. So when he talks about the branches that were broken off, this is about the blinded from Israel. Because if they're broken off and they're elect, that makes zero sense. Because if they obtain that which they hoped for, why would they be broken off if they're elect and they obtain what they hoped for?
Yeah, but they was broken off because that they didn't listen. They didn't believe or put faith and trust in God.
Right, right. So these are the blinded, right?
These are the blinded here. Yeah, these are the blinded one he's speaking of here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So in verse 20, we're still in the same verse. Do you see this word thou?
What verse is that?
Verse 20 in Romans 11.
The verse 20 says, "Well, because of unbelief, we say, where's oh thou? Yeah, thou is in italics.
It's in the text.
All right,
It's Sue.
oh, hold up.
It's the word Sue, second person pronoun.
Let me put it. Hold up. Let me look.
Yeah, IOCK. I think we're getting
I
somewhere.
have a I this is a older Bible. I guess they might not have found all of the manuscripts at this moment here where he is saying that certain words is in italics. So
What Bible are you? What is it called?
they might have found other manuscripts after this Bible here.
What's the Bible called?
It's called a companion Bible.
Hold up.
Let me go Romans 11 verse 20. Okay. 11 and okay.
All right. And who's the author?
Wait a minute. Rome 20, 20. What am I looking at? Wrong thing.
Is it E.W. Bullinger?
Yes.
Okay. So
Uh,
verse 20, well, because of unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith. Yeah, brother, you might want to read the beginning of this because when the words change in here, he's not showing you that it's not in the text.
he has it in italics there.
That's not italics. I can put my camera on the screen. This is so go to the next verse below because you can see where it says take heed. That's in italics. The other one is just in different font. Thou.
In verse 20.
Yeah, in verse 20, when it says thou, it's just in different font. Italics means it's slanted sideways. If you go verse
You mean
21,
verse 20? What is this?
verse 21, where it says take
You
heed
said
is not
verse.
in the text.
You said you we speaking of the word thou in verse 20, correct?
Yes.
What are you speaking of? Okay.
Yeah. That's not in italics.
It is in the companion Bible.
Pull this Bible up too here for you. I know 100% I got this on here. Companion Bible. Okay. All right. So we're gonna pull this up, and I don't even think I have the text in here, so I can't even show you. But that's fine. Yeah, no, that's brother. Italics is
Brother, listen, man, this is a mute point because if the word is there, the
yeah,
word is there. We don't have to be we don't
yeah,
have to spend time on
yeah.
it.
No, the
That's
word
why.
is there.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
arguing.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I said
Okay,
the word could be there. So, but that's what I said. We ain't gotta go do that, bro.
okay. All right. Yeah, no, no, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So hold up. Okay, so with that, sorry, I got turned around where I was. It was in verse 20. Okay, when it says thou standeth by faith, the word thou is second person, right?
Yes.
Okay. So so here's another thing. When you say when it says because of unbelief they were broken off, when you look at verbs also have person attached to them, so you know what if it's second person, third person, whoever the verb is applied to or whatever, and how it's applied. So this is passive, meaning the action of being broken happened to the third person and it's them. So third person, so it's applied to those who were in unbelief, the Israelites, but it's not applied to the second person, right?
Because their belief.
Right, right. But they weren't so every it says everybody that was broken off because of unbelief. But Paul's second person address, they weren't the broken off branches, correct?
No, because they stand in belief.
Right, right. And the branches that were broken off were the blinded Israelites. And in Israel, there was either blinded or elect, and that's all of Israel.
No, that's except for here we go again, bro. You already know my statement of that already. You keep saying this stuff over and over again, and you know what I say already, man. You know what I'm saying? You keep trying to put me in
Yeah,
this
but
corner or something. I keep telling you how I believe it, and you keep trying to revert back to
yeah,
something different, man. And
but
you be disingenuous, bro.
we've already been through the dialogue of unbelief. Even if somebody hears the truth or not, they can still be an unbeliever in terms of believing in God. And we attached them, the broken off. You said the broken off are the blinded Israelites. I was like, okay, perfect. The word rest means remaining. So now you no longer have this third group because I asked you about the third group if they are unbelievers. So they're characterized as broken off, as blinded. And we already showed in other places where you can be blinded and there's no actual reason why. And you can dispute that. That's fine. But let me just keep going. So we've already established that the broken off are the blinded Israelites, but the broken off, the verb here is third person. And Paul's speaking to Gentiles in the second person. So if he doesn't say that they were broken off, that they were blinded, that they are part of his flesh, clearly, I mean, I don't know how much more clear Paul can be when he goes on to keep using you and other third person verbs to separate his audience from those who he's speaking about. Like even like look in verse Verse 21. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. So when he says thee, he's not calling his audience natural branches, correct?
No, not in this verse right here. No.
In any verse, is he?
Yeah, these people here are like I said. We I told you that I understand this to be the dispersed abroad. They're the same people.
Yeah, but where does Paul call them natural branches? You said in this verse, no, so that implies that it's in another verse somewhere. So what are you talking about? What verse? I understand your assertion, but now it's the time to establish the proof of your assertion.
The assertion is the proof is verse 17,
Verse
right?
17, that's where he calls them the natural branches.
No, the assertion here is about them being grafted. They're being grafted in to the olive, being grafted back into the tree.
Yeah, so that wasn't my question. My question, because I said they're not called natural branches here. His audience, you said, yes, not here. So then I asked, okay, where?
Let's see, verse where is let me get the verse where it says it must be down where it said they were grafted in back into their own
Oh, verse 23.
let me see, hold on, let
And
me
they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in it again. Talk about that.
grafted into their own olive tree. Yeah, grafted in again.
Uh,
Yeah, grafted back in again. So if the one that
you're
was
saying this is applying to the Paul's audience. Is that
yeah,
what you're saying?
can I explain? Can I explain? Let me just
I'm
start.
just I'm asking if that's your assertion before you go on to explain.
My assertion is what?
Is your assertion that Paul is applying this verse 23 and saying this is about his audience?
No, we're speaking about the one that was broken off.
Right, but my question was
You,
let me just
brother,
go, let me
you asked a question and I'm trying to answer it, but you keep asking another question every time I'm trying to answer
no,
the
I want
first
to make sure
question.
you're answering my original question because it seems like you're now
I am
not.
answering the original question, but
What
I
was my
didn't
original
say
question?
nothing. I don't
All right, what
want,
was
I
my
didn't even say nothing.
all right, just state my original question.
Your original question you said is that about the audience Paul is talking to, are they the natural branches? You saying, and I said yes.
Are they called? Not
Are
are
they
they
natural?
called the next?
Well,
Yeah.
called an here we go again with the semantics.
No, no, that was my question. I was making sure you were understanding my question correctly. It's not semantics when I'm clarifying my question.
Okay, let me clarify what I am saying there. Like I said, I've been came here and I've been saying that these are the same people. I've been saying that over and over again. These are the same people. Your question is now, well, show me where they are called, and I keep saying I'm saying to you they're the same people, I'm going to show what I am saying that they're the same people, but you want me to show you where they're called. Is that correct?
Where they're called what? What are you talking about?
Where
Called?
they're called natural branches.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that, I'm not bringing this out of nowhere. I read it. I said, hey, it's Paul calling his audience the natural branches. You said not here. So
Yes. I said not here.
when you
Yes.
said not here, does that imply that he calls his audience natural branches somewhere else in this chapter?
Well, specifically calling them natural branches, no. But I'm gonna show you where they are.
That was my point. That was my whole question. That was
Okay,
my whole
all right.
question.
Well, no,
Okay, yeah, that was all. It was just them being just specifically called natural branches, just real plain. Okay. Um, and then in verse 23, I think you brought that up, and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again, right?
no, that's not the verse I was looking for. That's what you that's the verse you put up.
Oh, you're looking, okay. Are you looking for verse 24? For if thou were cut out of the wild olive or the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
Yes.
That's the one. Okay. So do you understand I'm not asking to be facetious or anything like that. Do you understand the definition of like nature and natural?
Nature is naturally.
No, no, the definition of nature and natural.
The definition of, well, okay, nature is naturally.
You're
And
using a big chunk of the word to define the word. It's like circular reasoning. It's like saying, what is a woman? A woman is anyone who identifies as a woman. You gotta be more specific. Natural branches are part of the tree. Yeah.
no, I'm simplifying it just to say, just simplify that it means naturally. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. So we don't have to get into no big semantic war about the word. I'm simplifying the word that it just basically boils down to being naturally. That's all I'm doing by saying that.
Yeah, trying to tell you that's not defining the word. If I say, how do you define woman, and you say womanly, that still doesn't give me any like understanding of how you understand the word
Okay,
or
well,
define it.
the word
Okay, I'll define it. I'll go
the
ahead, go
word
ahead, go ahead.
nature nature basically defines the birth.
To birth, right?
Yeah,
So nature actually, when you look at it, it's the word phusis, and it means to come from a common stock, right? So, question: does all of Israel come from a common stock?
of course.
Okay. And even if they're dispersed Israelites, they still come from the common stock of Israel, right?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Yes.
Okay. So let's break this down, verse 24. For if you, so Paul's audience, were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, by that which is from the common stock, and were grafted in contrary to nature. So if Paul's audience are from the common stock of Israel, why is it against their common stock for them to be grafted into the olive tree?
The word contrary is para.
Para, it literally means contrary.
It means among, beside, alongside of.
No, it's a para is a let me go to it.
So you say it doesn't mean among, beside, alongside of, doesn't mean that?
It can mean, but not in this context. So para, brother, brother, again, I'm telling you, I've been studying Greek for like the past 2 years, so I understand these prepositions. This is a preposition. You understand? Let me show you the definition for this. Like it'll literally give you 5 different definitions because it's based on context. So watch, look at Strong's. It says a primary preposition properly near with genitive, from, beside, literally or figuratively, with the dative, or in the vicinity of objectivity or subjectivity with the accusative. So depending on the case that it's used next to, that's going to determine what it is. So above, against, among, at, before, by, contrary to, friend of, there's so many different definitions and it depends on context. That's the whole point. So here I agree 100% with the translation, contrary to nature, para fusin. So when we look at this, unless you see anything else, I mean, if you can pull up, honestly, at this point, you have to pull up
Hey, wait a
scholarship because you
minute.
can't.
But remember, you didn't read contrary in the definition that you just pulled up.
Contrary means against. It's the translation itself is just from one of the so when you look at lexicons, you got to remember there's a lot of lexicons. All I'm looking at is Strong's right here. It doesn't mean just because I don't find the contrary to right here. Just because I don't find the word that it's translated into, that doesn't mean it's wrong because Strong's doesn't determine the translation. He's
Okay,
a scholar. There's other scholars.
okay, brother. So, all right. Okay, so now what's the bottom line here, bro? Okay, you just this is all a bunch of waste of time, bro.
Yeah,
What what
that's what
what
I
are
was
you
saying.
saying it
Like,
is? What are you saying it is, bro? So we can get down to it, man.
okay, yeah, that's the whole point that I was bringing up. That like you don't know Greek, you don't know grammar, so like a lot of the points I was trying to make,
That's your opinion.
you weren't.
That's opinion.
No, you didn't understand what the genitive case was, and you said you knew Greek, so you had lied, and then I was trying to explain it, and then you said that's wrong, but you don't know the language and you don't confer to scholars.
What are you talking
So
about? What are you talking about now, bro?
yeah,
What are
yeah.
you talking
So
about?
my
What are we
point
talking
is
about now?
a lot of the grammatical points I've been making thus far have been going over your head because you don't know grammar and you don't refer to grammar. So you were constantly saying I was wrong and my evidence didn't make sense Just because it does not make sense does not mean that it's wrong. That is actually a logical fallacy. Just because you don't understand something does not mean that it's wrong. That's first and foremost.
That's
And
wrong.
second,
It didn't make
second,
sense because the text said you was wrong. That's
brother,
why
you
you
don't
was wrong.
understand the text.
The
You
text
don't
said
read
the
Greek,
text said you was wrong. That's why I said
brother.
you was wrong.
You don't read Greek. That's my
It doesn't
point.
matter. The text said
Yes,
you
it
was wrong.
does. You
The
can't
text
determine
said you
if
was wrong. What about that?
the text did not say I was wrong, brother. You
It
don't
did.
read
It
Greek.
said to Israel. You were saying that you said it changes. The text says to Israel again. But you say it doesn't mean that.
No, wait. When did I say it doesn't mean that? Wait. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
You
Go ahead.
did say they didn't mean that because you
No,
mentioned the word but. You said but means a change. I said the text says to Israel again.
yeah. To Israel right here, but to Israel he saith. So that means he's speaking to
You were
somebody
saying
else.
it wasn't to Israel.
No. I was saying right here it wasn't to Israel because the but changes something in some way, shape, or
Okay,
form. Since he's specifying,
Prove verse 20 isn't to Israel.
Since he's specifying that this is to Israel, that means the change is that before he wasn't speaking to Israel, but now he's speaking to Israel, and that's grammatical. And since you can't understand that, you say, "Oh, that's wrong," and you can't even make my point. The point that I actually made, you actually say it wrong every single time. So that's
Make
why you
no
have to
sense.
do that
We
because you
know
have
that
to make it a
Isaiah was speaking to Israelite. That's what makes you wrong. The text saying you wrong. That's what I'm trying to
no.
say.
Paul saying you're
You
wrong.
missing it.
See, Paul saying you're wrong.
Okay, where Paul saying wrong at where?
But Isaiah is very bold. But to Israel he saith.
Isaiah is speaking
Grammatically,
to Israelites.
yeah. But he's
The text
qualifying. He's
saying you
saying,
wrong. The
but
text is saying you wrong again. This is how slow you are, bro. The text is
brother,
saying speaking to Israel. You keep saying no.
no. Right here he's speaking to Israel. Right here he's
Verse
not.
20, verse 20 is to Israel too as well.
Okay, so let me. All right, okay. Was Israel called by God's name?
Here we go with the semantics now. Here we go with the semantics now again.
Yeah, you got real quiet on that question.
You're
Look,
quoting a prophet
you
of
want to say,
Israel,
look,
but going to
look,
say he wasn't
you
speaking to
want.
Israel. How crazy is
Okay,
that?
You want to say, look, you want to say I'm dumb. You want to say I don't make no points and da da da. But but
You were
look,
trying
no, hold
you were
up,
trying to
wait,
call
hey,
me
I'm gonna
literate.
have
I
to
didn't
mute
know
you.
what I'm talking
You gotta
about.
hold up. You gotta hold up.
You
You gotta hold
started
up.
it. You started this name calling, bro.
You gotta hold up. You gotta hold up. I'm gonna have to mute you. So listen, you said, oh, I'm done. The reason I said you're ignorant or whatever in any case was based on certain points from grammatical structures. And you're saying, oh, you're dumb because here and da da da. I'm like, well, you know the reason why I have this. Who was Israel called by God? You got real quiet on that question because you know Israel was called by God. And Isaiah
I ain't
65
get
and
quiet
1,
on nothing you
and
said.
and I
Stop lying,
and,
bro. Stop lying.
in that Isaiah 65 and 1, he says, a nation not called by my name. You don't want to deal with the veracity of that it's speaking about one point in time. You have to be called by God's name or you're not. It's not, oh, you were called at one point in time, you lost God's name, therefore you're no longer called in the past tense by God's. That makes zero sense. So the fact that you make zero sense, I can understand why you don't understand anything I'm saying.
I mean, to you, of
That
course.
makes 100%
I mean,
sense.
to you. I mean,
So
you don't know who the
you
people is. You making
I know
assertions.
exactly
You
who
don't
the
know who
people
you're
are.
talking about.
I know who the people are. All right.
Who are they? Who are they?
They're God's people. All right. So in
Yeah,
Romans
don't gotta
11 and
say.
24,
You gotta God people.
so you asked me a
We need a
question.
nationality. We need a nationality.
No, you don't, because God doesn't give you a nationality in Isaiah
Okay,
65.
God only has one people.
God, okay, yeah, his
Okay,
people.
so you're making my point again.
Okay, let me ask you.
It's how crazy
Let
it
me go
is.
here. Huh? In Romans 9,
I
when
keep
Paul when
saying they're Israelites. Now you're admitting to it right now.
yeah. God's people are Israelites, but Paul even says all Israel is not all Israel.
He talks about they'll come out of Abraham. Let's get it
Yeah,
correct. When
yeah, but
he's going about Moses comes out of Abraham.
Israel doesn't come out of Abraham. Israel comes out of Jacob.
There we go. That's you see what I'm saying? You don't know the Bible, bro. You don't know the Bible at all.
What?
Clearly, when he's quoting it there, he's starting off with Abraham, then it goes off into Isaac, then he splits it off. So
So
clearly, you know what he's talking about.
you're telling me Israelites thought that people who came from Ishmael were Israelites?
No, he. That's what
Okay, so if
he's
they didn't think
explaining.
that, then
He said right
that's
here,
not an
neither
argument,
because they have the seed of Abraham. So I'm explaining to you. He's starting with Abraham. You trying to say no?
right? And
What are you
who
saying
was
then?
brother? So let me ask you, was it a thing where people thought that Ishmaelites were Israelites? It wasn't, right?
I don't know.
It wasn't.
Brother,
Are you serious?
you asked me if people thought. I don't know if everybody thought, so I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
so
saying to
why
the
would you
text.
make that?
The text clearly because the text says he's
Why would you
pulling
make that
Abraham.
claim? Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
making,
but
I am saying that how the statement that you're pulling, I'm saying he's referencing that going back starting with Abraham.
yeah, but he doesn't say Abrahamites. He said all the children. He doesn't say all the children of Abraham are not the children. He doesn't say that. He says
It
for
does say that
they
right
no
there when
no
you
no
read
no.
down.
All right, bro. I'm gonna have to mute you. You gotta listen. You gotta listen. He says for they are not all Israel, which are of from Israel. Who's Israel?
God's chosen people.
No, no. Who is Israel? The person. Who is Israel?
Jacob.
Okay. So he's saying they are not all Israel, which are from Jacob.
How does that make any sense?
Okay. How else do you understand Israel? Did Israel start before Jacob?
You say he's saying that people from Jacob
Did,
that's
did
not
Israel
Israelite.
did Israel start
Hold
before
it, bro.
Jacob?
I'm asking a question now because what you're saying is crazy. You saying that who from Jacob isn't an Israelite?
Who from Jacob isn't an Israelite? Paul makes the claim that not everyone who's from Jacob is an Israelite.
I'm asking you. You made
Oh,
the claim. Now, Paul,
if the Bible
Paul
doesn't
ain't making the
clarify,
claim. You're making that
yeah.
claim.
If no, Paul makes a claim right here. He says, "For they are not all Israel, which are of Israel." So if he specifies exactly who, then I'm right there with him. If the Bible specifies who, I'm with them, but I'm not going to speculate.
Wow, that's sad. That's why you don't. That's
That's sad.
bro.
I don't want to speculate from the word of God.
This is the reason why you don't understand the Bible, bro.
Okay, so
Right
how do you
there.
understand?
This
Okay,
verse right here tells you that you don't understand the Bible because
okay,
you think the verse is saying that there's people from Jacob that's not Israelites. How crazy for you even say something like that?
okay. So Israel happened before Jacob was born. Israel was. Is that what you're saying?
Jacob is Israel.
Okay, so if Jacob is Israel, that means all of his children, therefore, are would be.
Israelites.
Okay, okay.
So
But
how can Paul
wait,
be
wait, wait,
saying
wait,
that
wait,
they're
wait, wait. Wait, do you think that Paul is misunderstood in who Israelites are?
no Paul? He
Okay,
clarified. I'm
if Paul,
saying, listen, he's clarified the statement starting in verse 7.
why?
In verse
Okay,
7, he clarified what he's saying in that in verse 6. He clarified in verse 7 going down what he's
brother, nobody taught that Ishmaelites were Israelites. So he's making a spiritual distinction, because later in this chapter he goes on to talk about vessels of wrath and vessels of
you are
mercy.
making claims you can't prove.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so prove that nobody was saying that how they are the true Israelites outside of the Israelites.
Outside of the Israelites,
Yeah.
yeah, the proof is that there is no proof to the contrary that people were doing that. It would actually be on you. I can't prove, so I can't say my proof is the absence of proof. You would have to provide proof.
You made the claims and you got to prove it.
Yeah, I made the claim because it's not written anywhere. You
Okay,
don't
well,
see, even in the time of Joseph, you see them being called Ishmaelites.
that ain't
So it
proof.
was,
That ain't proof.
huh?
If you make a claim, you
Oh,
have to
wait,
have
wait.
proof to back up your claim.
Okay, but that's proof of a distinction. Now there has to be proof that these Ishmaelites thought that they were Israelites. I'm saying they didn't. So
Okay,
clearly, when he's talking here, he
that's your
says, "For
assertion
they are
there.
not."
Okay, that's an
Okay,
assertion. Okay, I got
okay.
it. That's an
When he
assertion.
says they are not all Israel, who's all Israel?
All descendants from Jacob.
Okay, he says they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. What does it mean to be of Israel?
That's why I said to you, if you read down, he explained what he is saying. You
I'm
don't want to
asking
read
you.
down because if you read down, it cuts you. That's why. You want to argue verse
I'm
6
just
all
asking
night
a
long,
question. I'm
but don't want to go to the answer when you read down.
I'm just asking a question.
I said if you read down, you'll get your answer.
Okay, all right. You haven't really provided any proof thus far of
That's
like
what I
anything that
figured.
you've
You
said.
don't want the answer.
You
You say you don't
okay?
want to read down, and you don't want the
Okay,
answer.
brother. No, 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 bro. I asked you for the answer. You didn't want to give it to me,
I said if you read down, you're gonna get the answer. Let's
brother. We
read
don't have
down.
time for that. We've been on here for 4 hours. I'm trying to close up.
That's what I figured. Well, stop asking questions then.
Okay, all right, guys. So basically, what we've been over a bunch of assertions without evidence, and then criticizing my claims from the Greek text. He's criticizing my claims, even though he doesn't know Greek and he doesn't you know, he doesn't refer to any scholarship. And this whole conversation has just been nuts. And the craziest point, and I definitely will clip this, is when he said magnify means to broaden and bring in the third person, as if that's anything any scholar has ever claimed. He'll act like he's a Greek scholar and then claim he doesn't know Greek, yet acts like he knows Greek, which is, oxymoron. But my final thought about Romans 11 and 24, Paul is speaking to these non-Israelites. He says, "For you were cut out of an olive tree, which is wild by nature. Nature's that which is naturally grown, and were grafted in against your nature, against your common stock, which it into a good olive tree. How much more shall these right here, not you, these, which be the natural branches, those who are naturally grown on this tree?" Again, we only established two groups in Romans 11 and verse 7, those who are blinded and those who are elect. And then he says, be grafted into their own tree. So there's only two groups. There's not a third. Paul doesn't use this word Gentiles to refer to Israelites in any manner. This is ethnos. So let's be consistent with the text. I'll let him give his closeout words, and that'll be it.
All right. Thank you very much, brother, for the conversation. I want to say is that, as you can see, he's arguing with the text. That's what he's doing all night. He's been arguing the text all night. I'm trying to keep it very simple, very common sense like. You know what I'm saying? He's just made assertions. I said certain things that I didn't say. Okay? He's what the Bible call that bearing false witness. Anybody can play this back and see what he's saying. I didn't say what he said I was saying. He asked a question.
Hey, don't call me a liar without proof.
But I got proof.
All right, yeah. Bring the proof up. Bring the proof up right now.
You called me a liar just now. You called me a liar just now. I didn't interrupt.
Yeah, because you said you didn't give a definition, and
but
you
I didn't interrupt
did.
you though. I didn't interrupt you though. If you was lying on me, I didn't interrupt you though.
Yeah, but no. We're not doing that.
Oh, so you
just
can
give your final breakdown. Give your final thoughts. Hey, give your final breakdown. I'm not lying. Give your final breakdown. No. Give your final breakdown. Give your final breakdown. Give your final thoughts, or just hop off.
Okay, well, stop interrupting me then, bro.
Give your final breakdown. Give your final thoughts. Leave me out of it and just go.
But you didn't leave me out of yours. How's that fair?
Brother.
Talked about me and your.
You got one more chance. You got one more chance. Just go.
Chance for what?
Just go. Do your closeout, or that's it. I'm just gonna close it out.
Well, close it out then, brother. You ain't being fair.
All right. Hey, look, with people like that, man, we've been going for 4 hours, and man, you guys saw the lies he was purporting. So I was just clear, like, yeah, he said this, and then he changed up later. I gave specific examples. He was just straight out calling me a liar. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm not about to have that. Like, that's nuts. And he was like, well, you did the same thing. Brother, I was bringing up actual examples, like specific definitions you gave that you then later said, oh, no, it doesn't mean that. Oh, I didn't say that. Like, brother, you 100% did. Man, the stuff like that is just, hey, man, it's just wild. Some of the people that you come across, man, like I'm telling you, I really was not I was trying to do my best not to boast about anything. But like when you get into scripture, you have to be clear about stuff. And it was pretty clear this guy did not read Greek. He didn't know Greek. So I was like, bro, like, do you not know Greek? Like, this is like basic. Genitive is basic. I wasn't talking about absolute genitive or anything like that. I was just talking about genitive. And bro, like the fact that you can't even understand genitive and you're telling me that you know Greek. He started off the conversation by saying he knows Greek, and I was making points in Greek, and he said, no, that's wrong. And I was like, okay, go ahead and parse this word. Oh, the word has no parsing. Huh? If he meant to say the parsing isn't important, fine, but what's the parsing of the word if you know Greek? And I was just like kind of just making my point each way that we went. And honestly, he kept lying and switching up. Yeah, man, that was nuts. I wanted to be like, I hate those type of conversations because I want him to be edified as well. But if he wants to act like that, I mean, it is what it is. You know, all we can do is pray for him. Because I don't know if y'all saw, but man, this was the weirdest thing. I thought he was going to go the other way. You guys may have not have caught it, but verse 12, he said these Gentiles here, and in verse 11, he said these Gentiles are non-Israelites. I was like, oh my gosh, no, is he going to say something different in 13? He said these are Israelites. So then I was like, okay, now the onus is on you to prove this linguistically. What changed in the text, in the linguistics of the text? And instead of addressing the Greek text and going here and saying, hey, this word for shows a distinction between the previous statement and this one, or something like that, he says, well, we know the whole history of Israel and how there's the dispersed. Oh, my brother, I said, prove it linguistically, not historically. So he was confused on proofs. He was confused on words. I asked him what natural was, or nature. He said natural. I don't know how much more dumb a definition can be than that. It's kind of like, hey, what is a woman? A woman is someone who identifies as a woman. A woman is womanly. You're still begging the question of what does that mean? Yeah, yeah, man. It was, oh man, that was a rough one. And the fact that, like, I guess logical thinking comes with it, honestly, it comes with analyzing the text, because you don't start thinking logically until you start analyzing the text and asking what does it mean. So clearly he hasn't gotten to that point of what does this mean logically in the grammar of it. How am I logically concluding all these things? Does this line up? And honestly, I think it's the fact that God gave me an analytical brain, and a lot of people have TikTok brain. A lot of people can't focus a lot. A lot of people, may not study this stuff, but when you don't study this stuff and you claim to be an expert, yet you claim ignorance when it suits you, you can't have it in both ways. That's why I told him, I was like, hey, I've been studying Greek for 2 years. I got a bunch of scholarship behind me, so I've got more than you got. So you can't really say you disagree. All you can say is, okay, I'm gonna look at that and get back to you. Keep saying you disagree. I'm gonna keep showing the fact that you're not qualified to disagree, you know. But man, some crazy points were made. But what I'm gonna end up doing, I'm gonna consolidate this whole live down. I think I want to break it up, but then I'm gonna lose the chat. So what I think I might do is I might do record a whole watching of this and break down the debate itself into consolidated parts where we're on topic. And I'm definitely making clips of when he said magnify means to bring in the third person. He said third element. Right, I thought he was talking about the movie with Chris Tucker and the one dude from Die Hard, or Bruce Willis. Yo, I was about to, man. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy one. Definitely not one of the craziest ones we've seen, but especially being on Bias channel with all them Hebrew Israelites we talked to. But he said ISUPK, the old camp. That was where he was from, not the one with the current one now. So, but all right, y'all. I hope to do some more of these in the future. I've been trying to get this one dude on, but it's so funny. They like to find excuses out of conversations. Once you show that you know something, like, oh yeah, no, I study Greek, I study Hebrew, like, I know this stuff. Oh man, I don't want to talk to you. Focus on the white scholars and da da da. Like, yeah, just stay scared, stay in your hole. But honestly, I hope the truth reaches that brother. I hope he's able to honestly just play back some of the stuff, just listen to it slowly, because there's some things that are so simple we don't understand it. Like, I've never thought about the definition of nature, power, all these other things. I heard this good definition of knowledge. It makes so much sense. I used to think that knowledge was to possess information, to have informative facts, or something along those lines, right? To have information. The most basic understanding and definition of knowledge is to possess a form without becoming the form itself. He did also say the third person. Oh, well, then he changed up. Yeah, he did. He said third element. I didn't get him on him that much, but he thought I did. That's why I think he's just misdirected in the conversation itself. I think just actual focus and soaking things in is not his strong suit. He probably tuned in, tuned out, tuned in, tuned out as he was thinking about responses. That's what it seems like. But anyways, the definition of knowledge is to possess a form without becoming the form itself. So, for instance, when you think of a tree, you actually picture a tree in your mind. That is possessing a form without becoming the form. And I think that's the most general way you can actually understand knowledge, because anytime you think of something, you picture it in your mind. which is freaking cool. You picture 1 + 1, you actually picture the numbers in your mind. And I think it's the coolest thing. Same thing with power, the ability to actualize will or potency. Um, and that makes sense. If you can lift a lot of weight, you're called powerful. If you're able to do a lot of things within the government, you're called a powerful man. If you have a lot of sway within anything, you're called powerful because you're able to actualize your will. Whatever you want to do, that's what happens. That's why we call God all powerful, because he is the only one who can actualize every single thing he desires. Um, so but yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. Thanks for everybody who tuned in, man. I really want to do more of these lives. I'm thinking of doing discussions, but also reactions to videos. Could be Hebrew Israelite videos, maybe some other ones, Jewish videos, whatever. I'm starting to try to get into some different things, look at some different elements of things. So if you guys want me to react to any videos, any shorts, whatever, throw a comment under this. I'll keep this on the public instead of unlisted. So you guys can go ahead and view it back and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll probably make a post when I'm gonna go live next, so you guys are so some more of you guys are maybe able to show up.